Stanford football on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area is brought to you by Frosted Brewed Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. Back live at Stanford Stadium, where it'll be the 7th-ranked Stanford Cardinal hosting the upset-minded San Jose State Spartans as both teams kick off this 2011 college football season. Our colleague Chris Townsend is down on the field with first-year Stanford head coach David Shaw.
Coach, when you look at today, you played here under Bill Walsh and Denny Green. Your father was a two-time coach here. This has got to be a huge moment for you and your family today.
It is, but it's a bigger moment for the team. This is our first time taking the field as a team. We want to come together and play a really good game.
Well, most people don't take over a squad that went 12-1 last year and finished 4th in the country. What is that keeping this machine going, keeping the winning going with this program?
The thing is to continue to put our guys in position to be successful. Schematically, personnel usage, we want to give our guys the best chance to be successful.
Good luck today, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
Back up to you guys.
All right, Chris, thanks. And schematically is a big word where Stanford is concerned. They like to throw a lot of different looks, a lot of different sets, and clearly Coach McIntyre and his staff had their work cut out for them, game planning for this opponent.
Yeah, last year with Coach Harbaugh and Coach Shaw as the offensive coordinator, Stanford would go up to the line of scrimmage and shift so many guys, move tight ends out, split them, move Owen Marisic to a slot back. So they've got to really prepare and have all their assignments ready to go as soon as they get to the line of scrimmage.
As San Jose State coach Mike McIntyre in his second year, and obviously, Mike, 1-12 is not the way you want to kick things off, but he has every reason to believe that this team is going to be substantially better this go-round.
Well, you have to consider how they started off their season last year, going to Alabama, Wisconsin, against Boise, so they had a really rough start to the season, really tough teams, and they got injured a lot, so they had to start a lot of freshmen, so didn't really start off well for them, but it looks like this year they're ready and healthy.
Well, they'll get a chance to start well on offense because Stanford will kick off, and it is going to be Jordan Williamson kicking off, the freshman. We were told that Eric Whitaker would be handling kickoff duties and Williamson would be used for field goals and extra points, but we've already seen our first Cardinal wrinkle as we get set to kick off the 2011 college football season. It is up and we are underway. And it looks like Brandon Driver will field and get popped as he gets across the 20-yard line, and that is where the Spartans will set up shop in their first go-round in this 2011 season. Matt Faulkner is your quarterback. We talked about him in the open. First major college start, although he did play regularly as a backup last season.
Not a good start for San Jose State. One of the things we heard Coach McIntyre say was they needed to win special teams. They needed to make things happen on special teams. And then later on in the game, you will see them have to stop special teams because if you go back 2 years and saw what Stanford did, they got up quick because of special teams. So not a good start, but 21, 22-yard line, I guess they'll take it.
Yeah, he thought that was an area where they might be able to glean some sort of advantage in a game where Stanford obviously has a much more highly touted athletes on both sides of the ball. And there is Faulkner in the shotgun formation for his first play. It'll be play action, little dump off to his fullback, Ina, who is primarily a blocking back, but he gets the first call, does not convert, and so San Jose State will be facing second and 10. Here are your backs and receivers. We spoke of Ina. It'll be David Freeman and Brandon Rutley splitting time fairly evenly at the running back position. Grigsby and Chandler Jones both tremendous as freshmen, and quickly your offensive line anchored by David Quisenberry, Robbie Reed, the center, coming back off of ACL surgery. Second down play is straight ahead Freeman, and the Stanford defense is up to the task. Not much there, Mike.
Yeah, San Jose State's going to come out in that pistol offense where it's going to be a lot of quick handoffs and also a lot of little quick passes. You saw the first play there. So Stanford's got to be ready for it, but a lot of Pac-10 teams play it, so they practice it a lot.
You see the D-line for Stanford, Terrence Stevens taking over for Sione Fua. Shane Scove and Chase Thomas are the engines that make that linebacking core go. Michael Thomas, Delano Howell, both stars in the secondary. So it'll be 3rd down and 9, and throwing down for Faulkner. He is hit, he is sacked. Ben Gardner got him, and Stanford has a fairly successful first series of the season.
Yeah, that just absolutely broke down there, and that's actually quite surprising for San Jose State because they have such an experienced offensive line. That's one of the things they really prided themselves on, is the fact that, the guys in the middle, they're Robbie Reed, Fred Coloto, who's had some injuries but has battled back. But you can just see there, 4 guys around the quarterback. That is not a good sign to start off the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to give that sack to Gardner or Scove or Thomas. Could have given it to any one of them, but nonetheless, Stanford's going to get the ball back, presumably in good field position, although Harrison Wade had a tremendous year punting the football last season. Be Drew Terrell fielding right around midfield, and good coverage there. And again, that's what Coach McIntyre spoke of, special teams pivotal for San Jose State's success today.
Absolutely. That's one of the key things they got to do is keep those special team returns to a minimum. Now, I don't know if we'll see Chris Owusu on kick returns. I know Coach really wants to keep him healthy because he's had some injuries last year that kept him out of 6 games. So we'll see Drew Terrell. We'll even see Griff Whalen probably back there taking a kickoff. But great play by San Jose State. Way to cover, not hit them too early, and make sure that they don't get any yardage.
Well, here's our first look at Andrew Luck, who completed nearly 71% of his passes last season. He will run this Stanford offense. First play of the new year is a straight-ahead handoff. Stephon Taylor fighting his way across midfield, still on his feet, but they're going to blow it dead, and a gain of about 4. These Stanford backs, and we will see a rotation of 4 of them. Taylor gets the start with Ryan Hewitt, who must replace Owen Marisic. Griff Whalen, no relation to Ryan, who graduated. You see a couple of Lombardi Award candidates there, David DeCastro and Jonathan Martin, anchoring a offensive line which has an interesting mix of youth and experience. 3 new starters, but guys with a lot of talent, and Coach Shaw expects them to step in quite ably. Here's Luck's first throw of the year, complete to Owusu. Owusu across the 40, and Stanford has its first down of the new season. Let's check the San Jose State starters on defense. Cedric Losey starts. We had a change there. Mohamed Marah was going to get the start, but he's a bit banged up. Rosidi making his first collegiate start. Vince Buhagiar, Keith Smith, both all-conference freshman performers from a year ago. And there is the secondary led by the Duke Iheanacho, whose brother Carl is a defensive end for the San Diego Chargers. I formation behind Luck. The give is to Taylor once again, and this time nothing doing, and that's Buhagiar on the stop. And we talked about he and Keith Smith really key figures defensively for this team.
Well, you think about all the guys that they had to force into action last year on defense. At one time, Coach said that there were 6 true freshmen out on the defensive side of the ball for San Jose State. So young guys that had a lot of tough experiences, a lot of hard knocks last year, but that's really going to help them. And you're right, Keith Smith and Vince Buhagiar are the guys that they're going to really rely on to keep the tone set.
Coach Mack says this defense right now is better than it was at any point last season. Certainly a good way to head into a new campaign, especially against a tough opponent. So Stanford goes to work again with the ground game. This time Taylor's got room around the end, forced out of bounds near the first down marker. Is going to be just short, but a nice run there for 33.
Wow, what a great seal off by the offensive line there. The key thing there is those guys got a good drop step and got on the guys' outside shoulders, and were just able to kind of keep them. You can see Moose Martin there just kind of keep his guy turned, and then Stephon Taylor made the rest of it happen, turn on that speed, which is very deceptive. That's the one thing about Stanford running backs that you will learn, and Andrew Luck, is that their speed is very deceptive.
Taylor, the 6th running back in Stanford history to go over 1,000 yards. He did that last season. This time they give it to the up man, Ryan Hewitt. And remember, this was Owen Marisic's bread and butter, the 3rd and short play. I'm not sure if he got it on 3rd and 2. It's going to depend on the spot.
You can see they had the power backfield there. They brought in number 10, Jeff Minkin, just to really hit it up the middle there. And looks pretty close, but looks like they're going to bring the chains out just to make sure.
Well, Moose thinks he's got a first down.
Well, then if he does, that's just... Don't argue with him. I wouldn't argue with him, that's for sure.
I wouldn't either. And you're an offensive lineman. They will bring out the sticks. You figure highly likely Stanford would go for it here on 4th and short.
Yeah, they're in that gray area where it doesn't make sense to punt. It's kind of a long field goal. You want to maybe get the tone going in the game, score a touchdown, get everyone kind of up to that game speed, and it wouldn't make sense for Coach Shaw. And I know Coach Shaw, and he will definitely go for it if it's short.
And the chains say it is... No, they're going to give him a first down. I thought they were going to say it was half a length short, but move the chains. 1st and 10 Cardinal. Coach Shaw almost had his first decision as a head coach.
It was not a tough one, I'm sure.
Probably not.
With about an inch left, I'm sure they could have given it to any one of their 8 running backs and been okay. Or let Andrew Luck just keep it up the middle.
All right, so we know how much this Stanford offense loves the play-action fake. We've seen them go to the ground now every play from scrimmage except for one. Is this the time?
Well, let's see.
Hewitt will split out wide right. Taylor's a good blocking tailback. They really like his progress in that facet. It's straight back for Luck. Looks around, he'll keep it. And Andrew slides down close to another first. And again, that's what makes him so difficult to defend, because he'll look off 1, 2, 3 guys and then, all right, I'll tuck it away, and he can run.
And as you saw on that play right there, that little pump fake that he gave as soon as you drop back in the pocket here. So he just takes his checks, 1, 2, 3, nothing there, and right there. See how it froze that cornerback right there, and it got him a couple extra yards. And one thing that Coach Shaw is really happy Andrew's doing now is sliding, not running down the field and hitting people, although we'd love to see it. You don't want him to do that every play.
Stanford in the red zone now, and Levine Toilolo, a monster 6'8" tight end, has checked into the game. Keep an eye on him in these red zone situations. He's out into the pattern, but instead it's a wide open Hewitt inside the 10, down near the 5, and another first down Cardinal.
And there's that play action pass we were just talking about. That San Jose State's going to have to really keep on their shoes about, because it's going to be tough to kind of guard Andrew Luck and the running backs. Now, Ryan Hewitt filling in for Owen Resick, tough shoes to fill, but what the coaches love about him is the fact that he's more of a pure pass catcher. Owen never really dropped a pass, but they can do a lot more with with Ryan on the outside there that they couldn't do with Owen.
So Stanford now 1st and goal from the 7-yard line. It is once again Taylor behind Hewitt. Power I formation, give it to Taylor up the middle, and the Spartan line holds firm. Nice play there by Keith Smith.
Duke Iheanacho, all right in the middle there, as we talked about, one of the leaders of that team. He's seen a lot. I think he's been around 5 years now, and a 5th-year senior, probably as long as anyone's ever been there at San Jose State. So he's been through some tough times, and saw it at practice the other day, listening to him really get in some of his teammates' faces in a good way and let them know that, hey guys, 111 ain't going to cut it, 112 ain't going to cut it. We need to win games. 2nd and goal now from, we'll call it the 4.5-yard line, and there's Toilolo at 6'8", split out left. That's a big height mismatch. That's exactly where Luck is going. Pitch, catch. Did he hang on? No, he did not. So Stanford that close to its first touchdown of the season, but they cannot convert. Nice play by Brandon Driver, who at 6 feet gives up a good 8 inches to Toilolo. Yeah, not a bad play. In fact, he kept hands on him really good all the way to the end of the play here. And you knew this play was coming. I mean, it's almost, they basically telegraphed it, but great play there. And then look, he almost had it himself. I mean, that's true defensive player there that's always going for the ball no matter what. Even giving up that 8 inches, he got his hands up, and that's all he really needed to do.
Stanford going 4 wide receivers and a tight end on 3rd down, or perhaps not, as Luck didn't like something, and he calls
first charge timeout.
That looks like a defensive timeout, so charge it to the Spartans. We will see how this drive concludes. No score thus far, just underway here at Stanford Stadium between the Spartans and the Cardinals. Back at Stanford Stadium, not your garden variety timeout. In fact, it may not even be a charged timeout. The TOs are not indicated on the screen, but Coach McIntyre is challenging this play, saying the driver actually intercepted the football, Mike.
And he's got a point, it looks like it, but I don't know if he has possession right there. As you can see, as he comes down, his right foot is behind Toilolo there. But as Coach probably what he saw here is ball, shoulder, foot, and then it's probably right about there that he said, hey, there's a chance there. However, I don't think it's indisputable. They'll probably keep the call as an incomplete pass in Stanford ball.
It looks right. There may have been a small bobble as he was coming down, and that would cost him the interception, because at that point his foot was decidedly out of bounds. But obviously this is a pretty tough call, because we've gone through an entire commercial break and then some, and still no resolution.
Well, one of the things that you got to remember is if they didn't call that a touchdown, then that's one of the things that a lot of people think is great play by the defense. But if you wouldn't have called that a touchdown pass.
Review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Incomplete pass. Third down, Stanford.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Not even indisputable. The ruling was actually confirmed, so the Cardinal will have
San Jose State
one more go.
will be charged with their first timeout.
And it will be a charged timeout for Mike McIntyre and the Spartans. Again, we don't have the timeouts designated on the scoreboard here, so we'll just have to keep track mentally. Mike, you up to the challenge there?
Let me get out my abacus. But that's a good call by Coach McIntyre. He's got to give his players a little bit of backing to say, hey guys, I think you did well. Let's take a look.
All right, here it is, 3rd and 5, and a spread formation for Stanford. Kobe Fleener is in the game. Remember, he had 3 touchdowns in the Orange Bowl win over Virginia Tech. Luck puts it up. Griff Whalen, the intended receiver, there was some contact, but no yellow hanky. And it looks like San Jose State has held Stanford to a field goal attempt, so it's somewhat of a moral victory there, especially when the Cardinals start near midfield.
Yeah, I mean, that's all they got to do. One of the things they want to do is not allow them to have quick plays and get a lot of points on the board. But secondly, have those good drives where you're giving your defense to make good plays and get some confidence.
So we get our first look at Jordan Williamson's first collegiate field goal attempt. 5'11" freshman, a redshirt freshman out of Austin. The hold is down, the kick is up, and it is good. So the Cardinal on a 23-yard field goal from Jordan Williamson are on the board first. It's 3-0.
Yeah, and a solid drive by Stanford, solid effort on defense by San Jose State. I wouldn't necessarily call that a draw because obviously Stanford got some points out of it, but we saw some good things, I think, on both sides. Each team is doing exactly what they're trying to do. Stanford's going to spread everything out. We've seen them do a lot of shifting at the beginning of a play. They're moving the ball around. San Jose State's are playing. I don't think they're just hanging in there. I actually think they're playing exactly how they want. They're trying to get guys around the ball, stuff those holes on run plays, and then just kind of play as much as they can with those really tall tight ends and receivers.
Mike, you played in multiple season openers. How long does it take to get past the jitters, to get sort of your legs underneath you and get your head wrapped around the fact that, okay, the season is now happening?
Yeah, the first play gets the jitters out. The butterflies go away after the first hit. And then probably by the second or third series, maybe halfway through the second quarter, you're finally starting to get into the rhythm of the game. And then you'll start to see a lot of the mistakes go away, like lining up wrong or little things that will happen in the first series or two.
So Whitaker will kick it off. Brandon Rutley is deep for the Spartans. And instead, it's going to be Driver who takes it. And Driver across the 20, breaks a couple of tackles, and gets out near the 30-yard line. And you see Shane Skov flying around there, and Stanford has long gone with the theory that you play your best players on special teams, and Skov certainly fits that description. Today's principal financial edge of the game focuses on San Jose State. Mike, what does San Jose State need to do to pull the upset here?
Well, one of the things they absolutely need to do on offense is get the ball to their really talented quick receivers. You've got guys like Sam Boyd, a redshirt freshman, Noel Grigsby, Chandler Jones. These guys are the playmakers that they really need to get the ball to. Secondly, they got to allow Matt Faulkner to throw with forward momentum. He's accurate when he throws the ball at 5 to 10 yards. Won't be accurate if the Stanford defense is getting in his face like they did that first series.
It's going to be Jones this time on the wide receiver screen. He dropped it, and it almost fell into the lap of Chase Thomas.
Wow, he almost had that one, a pick six, and that would have completely turned the game around. But hey, it's a lineman. He's got lineman hands, even though he's a defensive lineman, so he's got to work on that.
Well, I don't think you knew this was coming. I think Jones had a shot at it, and hey, here you go, 4-4, take a shot. But it falls as an incomplete pass, so it'll be 2nd and 10 now from Matt Faulkner, who once again lines up in the pistol formation. And this time Faulkner will give it to Brandon Rutley, and once again, not much room there so far. The interior of that Stanford D has done a nice job. And remember, that was a question mark heading into this season when you lose Thomas Kaiser and Sione Fua.
Yeah, that's one of the few areas, the offensive line, both offensive line and defensive line. They had some new guys rolling in there, but Matt Masafilos had a lot of time on the defensive line. Terrence Stevens, David Perry, a walk-on who just got a scholarship. So they have confidence, these guys, to be able to step up and keep the level of play on the defensive line that they had last year.
3rd down 6, 3 receivers in the game for Faulkner. He throws, it is complete. And the first down of the game for San Jose State.
There's that 5 to 10 yard pass that we just talked about. Matt Faulkner, very accurate, had 3 or 4 step drop. You can just see here, just quickly there, that even drop. I mean, he was in the shotgun, and that's why he's going to be so good. Those cornerbacks, Johnson Batamose, Barry Browning, Wayne Lyons, those guys are going to have to step up and make sure that they don't give up those 5 to 7 yarders all day.
There's Jabari Carr on the reception. Look out, Chase Thomas had a shot at him. He couldn't get him. Anderson had a shot. Faulkner elusive and turns a negative into a fairly sizable positive. That's nice work by the QB.
Very nice work. And, a quarterback's going to have to run every once in a while, and especially against this defense. And really good effort on his part to get a positive out of a negative here. Chase Thomas just not having a good series so far, just completely whiffed, but he kept on it and finally got some guys on him. So Stanford's going to have to figure out this guy's elusive.
4 wide receivers here, so the Stanford DBs will be tested on 2nd down and 5. And another completion, this one to Brandon Rutley, so the running back split out wide left makes the catch, and San Jose State, Mike, now starting to move the ball a little bit.
Getting in a good rhythm there, and Matt Faulkner is doing exactly what they need of him, just to make those good, accurate passes, pitch and catch, and get the ball down the field and make something happen so that Stanford can't necessarily just run the ball all day.
Three receivers this time for the Spartans, and instead it's a give to Rutley, and that time absolutely nothing doing, and it was Ben Gardner who got him right at the point of attack. So Gardner has been a factor in this first quarter.
Yeah, another guy that has stepped up this year on the defensive line, filling in for, Sione Fua, who was mostly a nose tackle, but also moved around the line there. But another solid guy that, 6'4", 263 junior. They're really counting on him to make an impact for the defense.
And Gardner, widely regarded as one of the hardest workers on this Stanford team. So on 2nd and 9, Faulkner rolls. Nowhere to go, and that time, the run was not going to be as effective. Trent Murphy, and Murphy is a guy who Coach Shaw really singled out as one he was really excited to finally see in game action.
Yeah, and on that play, too, you'll see Max Bergen step up there. But you're right. Trent Murphy is a guy that they just are hoping turns into the next, guys that they've had playing here that I played with, like a Kylie Wong type player who can kind of play up, play down, and just get in the backfield and really disrupt any type of passing attack.
Murphy played in just 2 games last season because of injury, but he has earned the starting role in that talented linebacker corps. So it's 3rd and 8, Faulkner going back to work. Here comes the blitz, they see it, they convert, and they do not convert. Jones had it and he dropped it, and it's going to be 4th down.
Great play by Michael Thomas to get on him as soon as the ball got there. Just disrupt that receiver's hands and let him drop it. So Michael Thomas, one of the captains of the year, along with Andrew Luck, really setting himself up to get a great year ahead of him. It's amazing to see the growth that secondary has gone through in the last 4 or 5 years, and he's one of the main reasons why.
So Wade will kick it away. Here's a guy who was 7th nationally in punting last year, 43.8 yard average, and he was just a freshman. So they really like this kid as a special teams gamer. It'll be Drew Terrell, who is clearly interfered with. We're going to get a flag, and Stanford's going to get some yards.
And that's exactly what they don't want to happen on special teams. Now, granted, it's not going back for a touchdown, but, these guys are definitely hyped up. They want to make some big hits. Coach Mack has told these guys, get on them as soon as they can touch the ball. And just a little bit of a little jumpy there, but you can see they got it. Basically, the ruling is you got to give him at least 2 yards of a halo around him, and I don't even think he gave him 2 inches.
No, I don't think he gave him 2 inches.
He gave him minus
either.
2 inches, I think.
Kick catch interference. Number 32 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. 1st down, Stanford. Timeout.
Jason Simpson, backup running back, is the guilty party, so Stanford will get some bonus yards, and Andrew Luck and company will go back to work when we return to Stanford Stadium. Till tonight at 10:30. Stanford will go to work from its own 30-yard line after the Simpson penalty, and Andrew Luck will try his luck against this Spartan defense for a 2nd time. Final luck punt of the year, I promise. And they give it to Taylor, who slips 1 tackle. Stephon bounces it outside and winds up picking up about 8 yards on 1st down. So there's some of the elusiveness that you talked about.
Exactly. And there you go again. Stanford lining up in a completely new formation. They're lining in the pistol now. So that's one of the things that we talked about. San Jose State's going to really have to figure out how to line up and get after him. And now they're going no huddle.
Yeah, now they got to figure out how to deal with the no huddle. And once again, it's Taylor. And this time he's got some running room across midfield. Taylor, one man to beat, and he's a submarine there. Brandon Driver finally got him at the 40-yard line, but Stephon Taylor starting to assert his presence for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this right there. Real quick, good block by Ryan Hewitt, and he's out in the corner there. And Stanford, once again, just keeping everyone on their toes, including us.
And all the talk nationally about Andrew Luck, and rightly so, but this team prides itself on being a physical club. They will pound you. They will run the football. We saw it at its best a couple of years ago with Toby Gerhart, but these guys can all pound the football, and Jeremy Stewart now is the latest running back to take his turn. And instead, it's play action. Luck looking downfield. He wanted Owusu. He wasn't there, so guess what? Andrew going to make something happen on his own, and Griff Whalen, we talked about the hands. That's just a tremendous catch.
That is great. And Andrew Luck obviously made that play happen right there. As he rolled out, it's very hard to figure out if he's going to run or not. As he's coming here, he's basically saying, all right, come up, no, wait, and then he just throws the ball, and Griff Whalen, obviously, good hands, has learned from great guys like Ryan Whalen, Doug Baldwin, Chris Owusu. A lot of good receivers there, but that was all Andrew Luck.
Yeah, Griff and Ryan not related, which is astounding with the same last name and same pedigree. They both came in as walk-ons or in scholarships as Taylor gets tripped up. But no relation between the two other than the fact that they're both darn good wide receivers. And Griff, by the way, is Andrew's roommate. So you know what? They should have a pretty good connection.
I would hope so, including who gets which bed, who gets to, all that stuff that roommates get to figure out.
I think the guy who's been in New York for a Heisman ceremony probably gets to have the final say on that.
And then you can see Pep Hamilton there, who's taken over the role as head offensive coordinator. Now David Shaw is the head coach, and he runs a lot of the passing game. And we'll talk a little bit more about how Stanford runs their offensive play calling a little later in the game.
Yeah, new coach, new coordinators as well. Quick screen here as they got Taylor out in the flat, and Stephon makes something else happen. He is close to another first down, maybe about a half-yard short, but this is a Stanford team that seems to be finding its rhythm now offensively.
Well, I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Just keep giving it to Stephon there, and just one of those playmakers. And look at those big guys out there. You've got, DeCastro was out there, Moose Martin. Get those offensive linemen out there in the open and have a throw at some knees. They love doing that, and that allows the linemen to get away from just hitting defensive linemen all day. 7 yards on the pickup. It's 3rd and 1, and this time they give it to Hewitt again, and Hewitt this time dives across for the first down. And we mentioned that the last time they ran that dive play, Owen Marisic was as good as anybody in the nation at converting those 3rd and 1s on the dive. And like you say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Guy's got the same hair. He must be able to do the same thing. I think it's becoming a tradition at Stanford now to have that flowing locks of golden mane hair. And Ryan Hewitt, as we talked about a little bit earlier, a very fluid athlete. They love him, the fact that, he is a big hitter, but he can run downfield and make some good pass catches that necessarily a fullback can't do. So 1st and 10 for Stanford now inside the 15. Luck looking, Luck throwing. It's Zach Ertz, who is inside the 5, fighting his way down to the 1-yard line. And that is what Stanford brings to the table with its tight ends, whether it's Toilolo, Fleener, or that guy, Zach Ertz. They can beat you a number of ways. Local guy out of Monta Vista in the East Bay. It's just amazing how incredibly tall and athletic these tight ends are. It's scary, actually, and I'm sure defensive coordinators, when they are preparing for their game plan, probably the first thing they think about is how do we contain their tight ends, because they can split them out, they can do plays like that. There's really not much you can do other than try to make sure you got a strong safety on them. Well, you got 3 of them in the game right now, but instead it's going to be Anthony Wilkerson getting his first carry of the season as the goal line back, and San Jose State standing tall in the trenches, and that'll be a gain of maybe a yard down to the 1, so at least for one play, Stanford is kept out of the end zone. One of the things San Jose State has on their offensive line is a true freshman, Travis Ricidi, who's in there. A big, solid guy, 6'5", 293, but I guarantee you he is 310 pounds. I saw him the other day, and they're got 21 guys actually on scholarship that are defensive linemen. I was going to say 21 defensive linemen. If you can crack the starting lineup as a freshman, you're doing something right. Luck rolling right, play fake. Dives for the pylon. Did he get in? You betcha. Andrew Luck's first touchdown of the season comes with his legs, and Stanford is on the board. an amazing play by Andrew Luck. Once again, it's his speed that is so deceiving to defensive players. They just don't know what he's going to do, and when he decides to turn on his motor and get to that corner, there's just no stopping him. You can see right here, he's got Ryan Hewitt, he's covered, and just all he's got to do is get the ball across. And just an all-around smart guy. I know we're going to continue to say that, but just knowing that he's just got to get the ball across and not take a big hit is just smart play.
Buhagiar had good coverage on Hewitt, took him away, so Luck does it by himself, and Stanford now, after the PAT, enjoys a 10-0 lead over their South Bay rivals. Number 12 just doing his thing. Stanford draws second blood in this ballgame. We're back after this. Hey, football fans, text Spartans to 82653. You can win a pair of San Jose State football tickets and visit csnbayarea.com for more details. Or just visit csnbayarea.com because it's the cool thing to do.
Exactly.
Scott Reese, Mike McLaughlin back at Stanford Stadium as Andrew Luck and the Cardinal have a 10-0 lead. Luck on that drive, or in the game, I should say, 5 of 7 for 59 yards, and of course the touchdown run. And you see there, all told, 9 plays, 70 yards on that scoring drive, 4.5 minutes. So Stanford dominating time of possession, and so far dominating the scoreboard.
Well, that was not necessarily unexpected,
no,
but I think San Jose State is starting to see what they need to do to put a little stopper on that.
Well, first game of the year, you never really know what to expect. Right now it's Driver fielding inside his 10, and he is tripped up. Great special teams play by Usua Amanum, who is a running back converted to cornerback, and he may see some time returning kickoffs depending on how they want to use Chris Owusu this season.
And probably very sparingly, as Coach has said, because Chris Owusu, one of the fastest guys on the team, next to Kobe Fleener, one of the tight ends, but he was injured a lot last year, and they want to make sure that he is out in the field on offense. He's a much more explosive weapon on offense than he is special teams, not taking away the fact that he took 3 touchdowns back a couple years ago. But you want to make sure that you at least keep him healthy enough to get some part of the game.
And that would seem like a wise idea. So San Jose State goes to work once again, and this is the freshman Sam Boyd. You talked about him on the end around. He's not going to get anything at all as Shane Scove tackles him, but Boyd is a kid with all the talent in the world. He had 7 catches in high school of 70 yards or more. They love his potential.
Very fast, very tall, 6'3", 238-pound receiver. And I'm not surprised they tried to do an end around with him because that's exactly what they want. They want to get him the ball quick and allow him just to use that speed and get on the corner.
Carrington in for Stanford as the extra defensive back, as Faulkner and the Spartans look at 2nd and 9. And look at this, Faulkner is split out wide to the right. We're going Wildcat, Mike. And that didn't work at all, did it? It's on the turf. It's going to be recovered by Scove. Stanford has the football, and I'm guessing Coach McIntyre might want to put that one back in the bag of tricks.
That's why I was so quiet for a second there. I was like, why are you doing this so early in the game? You don't need to do this. But, that's just, they're trying to change it up and make some things here. But you can just see just a bumbled snap there by Brandon Rutley. And, I hope they were practicing it, but those are the things that are just going to kill San Jose State, not just in this game, but during the year.
Well, and that is how the first quarter of play will end. Coach Mack thinking maybe that's not going to be the way to go going forward. I'll keep my quarterback under center. Stanford 10-0 after 1. Back to Stanford Stadium right after this. Plenty to cheer about for the home crowd at Stanford Stadium. 10-0 as we begin the second quarter. And the Cardinal in great shape now. They begin inside the 15-yard line of San Jose State after the turnover. Luck, plenty of time to throw the football, which he does. Wide open man, that is Ertz. That is a touchdown, and that is a clinic.
And that's exactly what they're going to try to do, is just get the ball in the corner of those tall guys. We saw it in the first series to Levine Toilolo, and then Zach Ertz, who they tried to get him a touchdown in the last series, didn't get it. But Coach Shaw's going to be very democratic and let those guys get the ball if they're making good plays.
Not to be redundant, but these Stanford tight ends are pretty good.
Yeah, and tall.
And tall. It'll be Williamson for the PAT, and he is true. So just like that, a one-play, 13-yard drive, and Stanford now has a 17-0 lead.
Well, this is kind of what Stanford wanted. This is not what San Jose State wanted. Turnovers like that, basically in the red zone, first play of the game on a trick play. I think Coach McIntyre is probably kicking himself a little bit for making that call, but they've got a lot of time left. The second quarter just started. It's not like the game is completely out of touch now, but San Jose State needs to change some things up here.
Our Sprint Update Unlimited focuses on the first quarter stats, and here they are, very much pointed in the direction of the team wearing red. Total yards, Stanford outgained them 119-15, and time of possession 9 minutes to just about 6 minutes. But that's a pretty big disparity right there.
Yeah, 15 to 119 is not what you want. And one of the key things that San Jose State will want to do as this game continues on is to limit the amount of time that Stanford's offense is on the field as much as they can. They've really got to make sure that they keep Andrew Luck and Stephon Taylor and all those great offensive weapons off the field and give their offense a chance to make plays.
Turning the ball over on the first play of a drive, probably not the best way to accomplish that. The Spartans will give it a go one more time, and a good kick from Williamson as he angles it toward the corner. Rutley tried to field it, dropped it out of bounds at the 2, so things going from bad to worse now for San Jose State.
I think
the ball was touched out of bounds by a receiving team player and will be put in play at that point.
San Jose State just needs to get the wheels back on the wagon right now, because everything could fall apart for them. This was supposed to be a totally different start of the season for San Jose State. Coming up here, not a long drive. Yes, I know it's Stanford, a top team, but even I would be afraid of playing Alabama in Alabama. And that was the thing, is they just said, come out here, guys, let's not make mistakes. Let's get into the rhythm. Let's do what we know what we can do. And San Jose State's hurting themselves. So I know Coach McIntyre, this keeps up, he's going to call a timeout. He's going to huddle those guys up and say, guys, we cannot do this. Stop.
Well, this is a dangerous time right now for San Jose State. Already down 17 and backed up deep in their own end. We'll see what Matt Faulkner has in his back pocket. This time a turn and a give to David Freeman, who bounces it outside. He makes one man miss, and then Chase Thomas and Barry Browning are there to clean it up for Stanford. So looked like daylight for a brief second there for San Jose State, but a 5-yard game will bring up a 2nd and 5.
Good second effort on his part there. You hit that line. Terrence Stevens was right there just blocking it all up, and he just turned on his motor and got 5 or 6 more yards. And that's exactly what San Jose State needs to do. They need to keep pushing forward and getting yards.
Call it 2nd and 7 as it turns out. A swing pass there, that's Grigsby, and Grigsby gets out of bounds close to the first down marker. I believe he's got it, so that's really a big moving the chains for San Jose State.
Yeah, got him out of that really tight situation down on the 2-yard line. And one of the things you're seeing here is that San Jose State is going to just do what they do best, as we talked about, those key points. Get it to the receivers, allow them to make play. Noel Grigsby was a all-freshman, a WAC player last year, and they need to make sure that they let him make plays.
So a new set of downs. Faulkner trying to find some rhythm. Another short completion. Once again, it's Grigsby and a minimal gain. Let's go downstairs to Chris Townsend.
All right, guys, as you know, this is the Bill Walsh legacy game, and his handprint is all over both of these departments. He played football at San Jose State, was a graduate assistant, of course, a head coach here multiple times, but it's more than just what he did football-wise. He helped looking for athletic directors and coaches for both these schools. Even though Coach Walsh is no longer with us, he will never be forgotten, whether we're talking about Stanford or San Jose State.
No question, Chris, and we talked with Coach Shaw about the effect that Bill Walsh had on his coaching career and his life in general. Shaw obviously grew up close to this Stanford program. His father, Willie, was an assistant here under Bill Walsh. Willie at one point thought he might get the job when Walsh wound up getting the head coaching job the second time around here at Stanford. But Coach Shaw was emotional. He almost, I don't want to say teared up, but he has a genuine love and respect for everything that Bill Walsh brought to the table.
And I had the honor of being recruited by Bill Walsh before he left Stanford a second time, and just the fact that he was around, and I remember talking to him, always wanting to help people and have people be successful.
Pass is complete to Grigsby, wide open over the middle, and he's got running room down the sideline. Carrington runs him out of bounds at the 40, but that is the big play that San Jose State has sorely needed.
Those little quick pass plays that they want to do. You know, as you can see there, good protection by the offensive line of San Jose State. They're really starting to get into their rhythm, just like we talked about. We're getting into the second quarter here. They're feeling what they need to do. They're doing it, and then they're getting up to the line of scrimmage and getting plays again so that they can keep Stanford on their back heels.
Yeah, now it's the Spartans going no huddle, although Faulkner takes his sweet time trying to call out the plays to his wide receivers, but that's Grigsby on 3 consecutive catches, so the pitch and catch relationship, quarterback and receiver, is suddenly working for the team in white. They'll try it again as Faulkner throws, and this time it might have been tipped. Looked like a bit of a wobbler intended for Michael Avila, but it falls incomplete.
Well, they had to drop the ball sooner or later, but once again, you know, I'm keeping my eyes on the line play there, and one of the things that you always want to do is make sure that those defensive linemen are not getting their hands up. Matt Faulkner is doing really good not telegraphing his pass. Like, he's keeping the ball right at his ear, and it's so quick that the defensive linemen can't get their hands up.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for Faulkner. And he drops the football, and that could have been disastrous as well. He falls on it, so a bad play could have been a terrible play.
Good heads-up call there. I mean, a good head-up play to fall on the ball as soon as he can, not have the same thing that happened on their last series, which led to a Stanford touchdown. So keep the ball, keep going. You know, it's 3rd and 13 now, not too bad, but you know, you got an opportunity still. Cough that ball up, and then I think right then the 4th wheel falls off that wagon.
And Faulkner completed only 2 passes in the first quarter. He's completed 4 on this drive, but he's in a hole once again. It is 3rd and 13 now from his own 37-yard line. Here comes the rush. Faulkner steps aside. He's going to tuck it away, but that's not going to get you 13 yards. It's not even going to get you 3. Down by contact, but credit Michael Thomas with the open field tackle, and that is what he does.
Makes big hits and good open field tackle, something that Stanford has gotten so much better over the last 5 years.
So that'll bring up a punting situation for San Jose State. And we will not take a break until after the punt has been executed by Harrison Wade. And there it is. It is up. Drew Terrell. This time he's got some room to run it back, and he's got some room down the right side. Big time room. Look at the seal. Terrell across midfield. And Liaina and the punter Wade get him down, but there's a flag on the play, so maybe just a little too much cushion because there was something of the holding or block in the back variety going on the Stanford side.
All I saw was number 5, Devin Carrington, was back there. The flag came out, probably going against Stanford because it was away from the ball unless it was a personal foul. I don't think it's definitely against Stanford, and I think this one's going to come back.
Harrison Wade, the punter, just thankful he didn't actually have to make the tackle.
During the kick return, personal foul. Number 94, the kicking team, 15-yard penalty. First down, Stanford.
I was wrong. I figured it was one of the two, well, but
you and everybody else in the stadium were wrong. It's Gerard Watson guilty of the foul, and things getting bad here for San Jose State. Stanford with a short field when we return to Stanford Stadium. Stanford football on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area is brought to you by Frosted Brewed Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer.
I wonder if it's being used in that very fun game called beer pong.
You were out there in Chuck Taylor Grove before the game. Get any pregame beer pong in?
It's called pregame prep, sir.
Ah, yeah, that is what you called it,
yes.
Actually, on the phone. 20-0 Cardinal over the San Jose State Spartans. Williamson will kick it off. And once again, it is Rutley and Richards back deep. Rutley fields across the 30 and out to the 32-yard line. 14 yards on the kick return as we check Stanford's drives, and they have all resulted in points. A couple of field goals, a couple of touchdowns. The most impressive was the 9-play, 70-yard drive that we saw in the first quarter.
And I have a feeling that those field goals probably could have been touchdowns. I'm sure Coach Shaw, as we talked about at break, is probably holding back a little bit, you know, not wanting to completely give out all of their secrets, and so he's figuring, hey, get the freshman kicker some time, get some field goals, you know, let's not worry about it. We're probably going to score touchdowns regardless.
And I guess the best way to not have to worry about using Owusu on kick returns is to not have any kickoff returns. So far they have not. So Matt Faulkner with Now 4 men in the pattern. He throws wide and almost intercepted. And guess who? Wayne Lyons. And I believe that was his first play of this ball game, the true freshman. They love this kid's potential, and he almost made a play there.
Yeah, they love the fact that as a true freshman, he has shown such a grasp of the defense, and so they really wanted to get him time. So you'll see him out there with Devon Carrington as the nickel back and also at cornerback as he's still in the game right now. And there'll be some other guys we'll point out too, some true freshmen that will get in on the defensive side.
Now there's a penalty here. Looks like we're going to get some motion. I tell you, it's been a pretty clean game for the most part. We had the personal foul on the kick return on San Jose State after the last drive, but for the most part, clean game.
False start. Number 85 of the offense, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Yeah, this game can get pretty, not dirty, but it'll get very spirited. There's a couple times when I played, take for instance the Rose Bowl year of '99. San Jose State beat our team, and I took a few hits that were considerably late. I gave some back, but it can get pretty testy out there.
You figure first game of the season, you expect a little bit of sloppiness. We really haven't seen much of that in the way of penalties, although we have seen a big turnover from the Spartans. And there's a connection from Faulkner to his big tight end, Ryan Otten. And there's a name we haven't called yet. He had 17 catches last season, and you say, all right, 17 catches, but they all came in 4 games. He was hurt most of the year, and they really like what Otten brings to the table.
Yeah, it's a nice tall guy, just like Stanford has, 6'6", 235, good target.
15-yard connection there. Again, Faulkner throws, and that time he had absolutely no shot. Chase Thomas providing the pressure, and we've got a flag on the play, and it's sitting at the feet of Wayne Lyons, the freshman. We'll see if he may have held somebody.
It's a pretty late flag, and it came from quite a distance, so these are usually not good.
Yeah, the back judge threw it. Didn't get much air underneath it.
It was a missile. It was going right for number 2.
And like just about everything else so far today, it's going against San Jose State. Coach McIntyre not pleased, but illegal man downfield. The whole play took about 2.5 seconds. How did anybody get downfield illegally?
Well, let's take a look here and see.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Number 76 of the offense, 5-yard penalty. First down will be repeated.
Left tackle, David Queensberry. I don't know what he was doing downfield, unless he got screwed up and thought it was a run play.
Yeah, maybe got crossed up. Queensberry, a veteran. He started every game at left tackle last season, really the anchor of this Spartan offensive line. And oh, by the way, injury to insult, right? Faulkner gets decked by Chase Thomas, who gets a free shot on a penalty play. So now it's 1st and 15. Cardinal coming on a blitz. Another flag goes down. This time it is complete to Grigsby. And, you know, the dink and dunk is fine when it's 0-0, but when it's 20-0, eventually you may have to take a shot downfield.
Yeah, you got to get some atmosphere under that ball and start getting it down the field. And I think this one is going against Stanford.
Number 90 of the defense, 5-yard penalty. First down will be repeated.
That's Josh Morrow. Bottom part of your screen here. First penalty of the day, I believe, on the Cardinal. Just couldn't quite pull the foot back.
Good blitz coming off the strong side from Shane Scove, too. And defensive lineman's got to watch that ball.
So once again, it is 1st and 10. It's like the 2 penalties never happened. Faulkner swing it outside, and Grigsby couldn't handle it. That throw was errant. But clearly, Noel Grigsby has been the main target today for Matt Faulkner.
And as he should be. I mean, look at his stats from last year. He had, one of the leaders on the team with 56 catches, 822 yards, 4 TDs. A solid guy who he can get his hands on the ball, unlike last play. But going forward, as you've seen the last couple of series, they can count on him to make some plays, and they definitely want to get balls thrown his way.
Again, Grigsby and Chandler Jones, both all freshman WAC performers from a year ago, pressed right into service. And here's your downfield look. Faulkner instead goes underneath. Nice throw and catch, and that is Jones. Or is it Grigsby? It's Grigsby out across the 35. Across the 40 to the 37. So there's the intermediate throw that McIntyre talked about, and Grigsby makes the play coming across.
Yeah, Grigsby just makes finds the lane, as they like to say, across the middle there. And Shane Scove obviously just didn't see him as he snuck behind him, and Grigsby found the open spot, and Faulkner had the great intermediate throw.
So a little life now for the Spartans, but not there. Freeman is met immediately as a couple of Cardinal, including Ben Gardner, right there at the point of attack. Scove in there as well.
They got to mix it up every once in a while, make sure they keep Stanford honest. I don't think they're going to always throw that play, and what that will happen is those linebackers will start to drift back as the play comes, and you got to make sure you run the ball to keep them from doing that.
This time it's a throw. Faulkner has a man open and caught. Chandler Jones down at the 24-yard line of Stanford. That's a 13-yard connection. So really just the second drive today that San Jose State, Mike, has strung together multiple first downs and look like they might be looking to score their first points of the season.
Yeah, and the important thing here is San Jose State is rolling now. I mean, they had that fumble on that weird Wildcat play. They had the bad kickoff or bad punt return, and now they've gotten the things going, and this is exactly what San Jose State needs to do.
So it'll be 1st and 10 from the Stanford 24. The give is to Freeman, and once again, I tell you what, that Stanford defensive line has been tremendous. Scove was in there from a linebacker position, but Gardner, Masafilo, Terrence Stevens have really done a nice job clogging up that middle. There has not been much running.
I think on that play, Ben Gardner took up 4 linemen. I looked up, and there's 4 guys blocking him. And that's exactly what you want to do is take up as many guys and let those linebackers who are just amazing get in the play there. Late shift, but they got guys on the field.
Yeah, wholesale substitutions for the Cardinal. Play fake, Faulkner looking to throw, and a whole lot of contact. We're going to get a flag on Jonathan Batamosi, who says, hey, I was just doing my thing. He ran into me, but I think he's going to lose that argument.
It looked like he got his hands wrapped around him and gave him a hug. Can't do that.
So Johnson Batamosi, who is a guy with a lot of experience. He's made 13 starts over the last 2 seasons, had 40 tackles a year ago. And you know what? Now there's a second flag in the backfield, so this thing may come back altogether. We'll see.
Can't figure out if that was a holding call or a late hit on the quarterback.
Well, if it's a late hit on the quarterback, then the Spartans really going to be in business.
Yeah, at the corner of my eye, it looked like someone may have had a couple of steps to stop on Matt Faulkner. I don't know who it was, but they're coming up as offensive linemen checking on their quarterback. So probably. There we go.
There are 2 fouls against the defensive team. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 98, this penalty is declined. Pass interference. Number 27 of the defense, this penalty be accepted. First down.
All right, so first we'll show you the roughing the passer as Matt Masafilo is the guilty party. Faulkner gets rid of it, and yeah, when you throw him down like that after he releases, you're going to get called on that every time. And then the pass interference was blatant on Batamosi. So a couple of bad things for Stanford, and now all of a sudden San Jose State really moving the football inside the Cardinal 10. They're going to have a 1st and goal, and you put 7 on the board here, and all of a sudden it's a football game again.
Well, and San Jose State's taking advantage of bad play by Stanford's defense, and this is where they need to really get points on the board. Do not get shut out in the first half so you have something to hang your hat on.
Jones in motion. The give is straight up the middle, and once again Rutley going nowhere, and that Stanford front 3 and the 3-4 defense, Mike, has been outstanding.
Well, and pointing out here, Alex Dedniak, number 42's in the game. One of the guys they're really hoping steps up and gets some great playing time. They had a lot of hopes for him a couple years ago, hurt his knee. He's pushing his way in the pile there. But, Shane Scove, Alex Dedniak, Trent Murphy, all these guys are just amazing players that they want to be able to set the tone for the defense.
2nd and 9, Faulkner, and Chase Thomas hammered him right as he turned around. Somehow Faulkner still got rid of the football, but number 44 loves rushing the passer, and he did a heck of a job of it right there.
He's scary. I mean, he's, with Thomas Kaiser and Chase Thomas last year, it was one of the 2 best 1-2 punches Stanford has had at defensive ends or outside linebackers that they've had probably since, I don't even know when. I'm trying to imagine that 2 good defensive players that rush like that. Thomas Kaiser left early for the NFL. Chase Thomas has continued to get bigger, faster, and stronger for the Stanford Cardinal.
So it's 3rd and 9 now for Faulkner and the Spartans. 3rd and goal from the 9. Swing it to Grigsby, who is met. He'll get to the 5 and nowhere further than that. Batamosi on the tackle. So the Cardinal defense holds firm inside the 10, and we're going to see the first Harrison Wade field goal attempt of the season.
taking up double duty for the Spartans, doing the punting and the kicking.
Officially, this will be a 23-yard field goal attempt. It is down, it is up, and he missed it wide right.
Hit the upright.
Been a tough first half for San Jose State. The Spartans finally with a golden opportunity to put points on the board, and they come up empty on the missed field goal. 20-0 Stanford. Coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report, a Sportsnet Central update from our San Francisco studios. Chris Townsend goes one-on-one with Stanford Athletic Director Bob Bowlesby, and of course highlights and stats from this first half of football here at Stanford Stadium. The first half of the 2011 season, Mike McLaughlin, which according to expectations could be pretty special here on the farm.
Well, considering how awesome Stanford was last year, 12-1, Orange Bowl win, yet again another Heisman Trophy runner-up who, you know, a lot of people say probably should have won, but we won't want to get into that debate. But yes,
wow.
Number 6th and 7th ranking, depending on where you're coming from. There's a lot of hope and a lot of hype here on the farm.
Well, Andrew Luck back to work, and he hands it to Tyler Gaffney, seeing his first action of this new season. Gaffney shifts forward for about 3 yards. It'll set up 2nd and 7. You talk about the record books here at Stanford, and obviously the number 12 is launching an all-out assault on them. Right now, he is behind our colleague Todd Husak, who's over calling the game for radio with Dave Fleming. But you give him this full season to work with, he's going to move up that list. And remember, you know, he's going to be gone after only 3 seasons of eligibility here on the farm. 2nd and 7, that's Kobe Fleener in motion for Stanford. Luck will throw wide open, Owusu on a crossing route, and there's a flag on the play, so we'll see what that brings about. But Owusu all the way out to the 45-yard line, so get the fast man, the football in space, seems to be a good concept.
I think there might have been a grab. We'll have to see on the defensive side.
It's on the other side of the field.
Things not going right for San Jose State. You know, they had a great drive there, missed field goal. They got to be able to do something right so that they can start to build on
Pass
that.
interference. Number 11 of the offense.
Well, that's
15-yard
interesting.
penalty.
All right.
The down will be repeated.
They're getting Toilolo on pass interference on a pass that he didn't catch. Offensive pass interference.
I wonder if they did a little clip here. So here's...
Yep.
Correction, the penalty is half the distance to the goal.
You can see there he went down the field and basically just did a block, and you cannot do that, unfortunately.
Right, basically an illegal pick. So negate the big gain by Owusu. Instead, Stanford moving backwards. And now the Cardinal deep in their own territory. Be back to their own, 12.5-yard line. Again, not surprising to see a few mistakes here. First game of the season. And a guy like Toilolo, who lasted all of 2 plays from scrimmage last year before blowing out his knee and sat the rest of the way. Luck, lots of receivers into the pattern, throws to his roommate Griff Whalen, but it is incomplete. And now San Jose State has forced a 3rd and long. So again, if the Spartans can hold here, get the ball back presumably in decent field position, they can still make something of this game before halftime, but something's going to have to go right for them.
I'm trying to think of what can. I mean, I don't want to pick on San Jose State, but they've been shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. And then, you know, once they start to get a good drive going, they just had bad luck with the field goal there. So, yeah, the good thing that we're seeing from San Jose State is that the fight hasn't left them yet, and I don't think it will.
Well, it's 3rd and 18, but Andrew Luck is the quarterback, so you never know. He dumps it off to Fleener left side, and that had no chance of actually picking up a first down. So perhaps conceding this was just about field position. Stanford will punt it away, and the Spartans will get another shot.
Yeah, I don't think Coach Shaw wanted to open up his 3rd and long play. That's a very selective play selection that a coach keeps in his back pocket. And doing it with a 20-0 lead in the first half of a game that you pretty much already have in control probably would not be a smart coaching decision.
So it'll be David Green on to punt for Stanford. First punt of the day, and therefore the season for the 6'1 senior out of Mission Viejo. Green, the primary punter in 08 and 09, gave way last season to Daniel Zidlinski, and he may give way again because he shanks it barely across midfield, and so maybe again there is a break for San Jose State.
And let's see if they can capitalize on it. And going back to the punter there, there was a huge battle last year of who could be least worst on Stanford's punting team. That was one of the things that you could point at Stanford last year was their punting game. They didn't really use it a lot because they were constantly scoring points. And when the guys get on there, David Green and Daniel Zaklinski had some great punts, some really good efforts, and then they would just really do bad, and they would switch them back and forth. And kickers are heady creatures. They you can't really get in their heads too much, otherwise they start doing that. So Coach Shaw is going to have to figure out what they want to do there.
Kind of like closers in baseball?
Yes.
So Faulkner takes over just on his own side of midfield. Once again, they try the ground game once again. It does not go very far, just a 2-yard gain on first down. Chris Townsend, what do you have?
Well, I'm here with a Bill Walsh Award winner here. Joe Nedney, former San Jose State Spartan kicker and San Francisco 49er who just recently retired. What's it like being back and looking at your old squad?
Surreal. This is my first time in the new Stanford Stadium. Much bigger improvement. Good atmosphere. Like to see the Spartans play a little bit tougher, but it's nice to be back. It really is.
Well, sad to see you retired. You had a hell of a career.
Well, thank you. I mean, at 15 years, you can't sneeze at it. It was a lot of fun, and time to move on.
Thanks so much. Hey, back up to you guys.
All right, Townie, thanks. Throw from Faulkner is incomplete, intended for Jabari Carr.
Right behind Nedney there was another recently retired Stanford center, Eric Heitman. I don't know where you can see his big gorilla neck behind him right there. His hat turned on backwards. Eric, not officially retired, but not playing this year because of recent neck surgery.
Of course, teammate of Nedney's. There's that big grin.
He was on Chronicle Live last night, did a great job.
All right, 3rd and 8. San Jose State trying to muster some offense here right at midfield. 3 wide receivers for Faulkner. Big rush, Thomas forced a fumble, and Stanford's in big-time business. Picked up by Anderson, big fella, motoring inside the 20, down inside the 5. He's on his feet to the goal line. Did he get in? No. Kevin Anderson, half a yard shy of a touchdown, but a highlight film play, and Chase Thomas made it happen.
Scoop and score, and that's exactly what those defensive coaches love, is when those big defensive linemen, they tell them, don't fall on the ball. If you got a chance, go ahead and pick it up. And sure enough, a smart play by a young guy who had his opportunity to get in the touchdown. It almost made it. It would be great to see if they ran him out there as fullback and allowed him to get the touchdown, but that is not going to happen.
I think I said Kevin Anderson, his teammate. It's Henry Anderson, obviously, is the man who made the play. Redshirt freshman out of Atlanta. They expect big things from him. And once again, a Stanford defensive lineman making something happen in this ballgame. Luck takes over. Give it to Taylor, and this one's not going to count because there was movement before the play.
There is no snap. Prior to the snap, the previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field was that the defensive player was down short of the goal line.
So there was no movements. There is another review. Second time that we have seen a play reviewed. Of course, a near interception by San Jose State on Stanford's very first drive. That call was upheld. Let's see what this one looks like. There is Anderson. And where does the knee hit? Where's the ball? And it's awfully close, but I think the call probably stands. Maybe we see it from the other side.
Now, is this a referee decision or a coach decision? I got to figure it might be Coach Shaw wanting to use up a timeout that he probably won't use.
After further video review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Stanford.
Well, that didn't take long. So, confirming what we suspected, Anderson's play was nice, but not quite nice enough to get him 6. And the Cardinals still have a little bit of work to do, but they are knocking on the doorstep, 1st and goal. Now, they went run up the middle the first time, and there was no play. We'll see if they're a little more imaginative here or if they just try to pound it in.
And let's go back to that fumble there. Who was causing the fumble? Chase Thomas was right there in the backfield. Huge hit, stripped the ball, and they are really happy that they have him still.
Yeah, I think so. So Taylor once again is the setback behind Ryan Hewitt. The give is to Stefan. And they got him by the ankles. Jordan Richards from behind may have saved the touchdown there because Taylor couldn't get airborne Richards had him by the feet, and it'll be 2nd and goal.
I got a half yard there, but interesting. You know, Stanford's offensive line versus San Jose State's defensive line. This is where battles are won, and you can see, once again, it wasn't necessarily a battle won or lost. It was just, was that number 8?
Yeah, that was Richards.
Yeah, Richards getting in the backfield there and just not playing the pass. So be careful there because Stanford will start doing little play actions and burning them.
Couple of extra linemen now. The jumbo package for Stanford. Once again, they give it to the running back. This time it is Taylor again. And once again, they don't get in. Look, this has to be some cause for concern for Stanford. I know it's 20-0 as we go under 3 minutes to go in the half, Mike. But, you know, 3 new offensive linemen. Stanford has not been able to pound the football as they were they had a tendency to do last season.
Well, and one of the things that you got to realize is Owen Marisic is not back there either.
Yep.
A, carrying the ball, or B, lead blocking. And Ryan Hewitt's really got to step up and become that kind of ferocious blocker that you need as a fullback to block for such great running backs.
So it'll be 3rd and goal from the 2. Again, Taylor is the tailback. This time Luck fakes it, and he will throw, and that's just too easy. Ryan Hewitt on the receiving end, and the Cardinal have a 26-0 lead.
Well, they figured if he's not going to block well, he'll probably catch well, get him the ball, and that works too.
So the Owen Marisic lookalike hauls in his first touchdown catch of the season, and Stanford's lead is now commanding 26 extra points pending. Just a simple route. You run the fullback out underneath the coverage to the left, and Luck could have run that thing in as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, he's got to share some of the highlight film with some of his teammates.
Plus, you're building a Heisman race. You got to have some touchdown passes.
Yes.
Williamson on for the extra point. It is up. It is good. It took 90 seconds for the Cardinal to go 1 yard in 3 plays and put 7 more on the board, and it's starting to look blowout-ish here at Stanford Stadium as the 7th-ranked Cardinal now have a 27-0 lead. Well, it's where the game is as important as the game itself. After the game, just as important, immediately following every 49er game this season. Check out Comcast Sportsnet for 49ers Postgame Live, the official postgame show of the San Francisco 49ers, hosted by Dave Benz and Dwight Clark, live from the stick. Mindy Bach, CSNBayArea.com insider Matt Mayoko in the locker room for interviews and insights. Complete 49er coverage every night on Sportsnet Central and, of course, always on CSNBayArea.com. And all this excitement, Mike, that we feel today over the college football season getting underway, we will replicate that next weekend with the start of the NFL season.
And who would have thunk it would have happened? For months, lockouts were there, players and owners were not getting along, coming to agreements, and then bam, we got a full complement of football now, and I think everyone's happy.
I think a lot of people are pretty fired up about the fall football slate. You know, Raiders and Niners, we'll see what we get from our Bay Area teams. In the meantime, it is Whitaker this time kicking off and not Williamson, and that is a short kick, barely gets inside the 20. And Griff Whalen missed his man, but no matter. Batamosi there to clean it up as Driver is subdued. San Jose State's first 6 drives of this football game. One of them should have netted them at least 3 points. It didn't. Field goal missed. And the rest of them forgettable. 3 punts, couple of fumbles. And again, when you're a team that's coming off a 1-12 season, you're going into hostile territory to play a team that was 12-1 and won the Orange Bowl. You cannot turn the ball over.
That's the thing that will drive any coach nuts, is mistakes like that are just, they're totally mental. Not carrying the ball, not handling it.
Well, this didn't work so well the first time, but they're going back to the Wildcat. That's Faulkner at the top of your screen. The quarterback split wide left. And this time it's just a straight carry out of the Wildcat formation, but it didn't matter. It worked better than the fumble for Rutley, but not much better, no yards.
I was going to say, they might as well just hold on to the ball and run it even if the play's not there. Let's not fumble the ball on San Jose State's side there.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 as Faulkner retreats to his customary spot behind the center. Four receivers, and again, at some point, we may see him take a shot down the field. It is 27-0. Here's Faulkner He does go downfield, and it's caught. Nice grab there by Carr. He slips a tackle. He's inside the 30. One man to beat is Delano Howell, and Howell will finally wrestle him down inside the 10. But how about the effort there by Jabari Carr?
Great effort. And, you know, looking at the Stanford defense there, who had the hit on there? I couldn't tell. But they looked like they went in for the kill shot and missed. And great feet on Jabari Carr. I mean, here, let's take a look here.
Yeah, that was Carrington.
Didn't
wrap him up.
Yeah, so, you know, that's the one thing is you go in for the big hit, you got to make sure you make the big hit.
So here we are, first and goal from the 7. They give it to Rutley, and Rutley, again, can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. I tell you what, we keep saying it, but the Stanford defensive front, Gardner, Massafilo, Trent Murphy in there as well, just playing a tremendous first half.
That was number 31, Barry Browning, just came off the corner there and just got a hand out and tripped him up because he was able to. You know, those defensive linemen are not letting anyone get out.
Second charge timeout, San Jose State. This is a 30-second timeout.
All right, so the Spartans will stop the clock with 1:13 to go in the first half, down by 27. Clearly, they need some points, and they need 7 and not 3. As we take one more look at the big play here by Jabari Carr, as Carrington and Batamosi both had a shot at him, neither wrapped him up, and even Delano Howell didn't get him on the first try. I mean, this looked like it was going to end shy of the 20-yard line. How about the spin move there by Carr?
Just good athletic ability there, and San Jose State wants to make sure that these guys have opportunities, and if they can continue to do that and not shoot themselves in the foot here, and I know this is why Coach McIntyre called the timeout. He wanted to get the guys around him and say, all right, guys, 1:13 left. We don't have any points on the board. We have not played well at all. We have got to get it in here. So we're going to throw a couple wrinkles in here probably. But, guys, get the ball in the end zone. Don't let that great play go to naught.
Faulkner, 10 of 19 for 163 yards passing. He's had an okay first half. That was really the first big play down the field, and Carr did most of the work. But you can't settle for 3 here, and you can't run the ball up the middle. I mean, you've got 2 shots, maybe 3, depending on how desperate you are at 27-0. You've got to throw the ball in the end zone, give Faulkner a chance to make something happen. He is certainly more than capable on a short to intermediate route into the end zone of making a play.
But unfortunately, you've got the 12th defensive player out there, the end zone, helping Stanford right now. So they don't have to necessarily be weary of the long ball. They can play up and press. So that will hurt San Jose State a little bit.
And we're going to get a stoppage before this play gets underway.
This is the third and final charge timeout.
And apparently Coach Mack really wants to make sure they've got the right play because
this also will be a 30-second timeout.
Back-to-back timeouts.
Yeah, I don't think he was very happy about this. Probably a personnel problem or a formation, and I'm glad we don't have audio on that because I'm sure there wasn't some nice 4-letter words coming out of his mouth there, but nothing frustrates a coach more than burning a timeout, telling the guys exactly what you're going to do, allowing them to catch their breath, and then not doing it. These are the little things that San Jose State needs to fix coming out of this game.
Boy, that's not the nice, calm, jolly guy we met in his office the other day, throwing headsets.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like, he was like, the good uncle that, kind of gives you candy and all that stuff. It's weird, but hey, he's a fiery guy. He's had a lot of great experiences. Came from Duke. Coached the Cowboys with Bill Parcells, and so he's been around. He understands what he needs to do. Good guy, but needs to make sure he's got a little fire too to get his players going.
Well, let's see if those players have some fire. It is second and goal now from the 8. Faulkner has 3 receivers. His tight end split right. That's Ryan Otten. He throws left in the end zone, and it's over everybody. Delano Howell had the coverage on Noel Grigsby.
Chase Thomas once again getting in the backfield there, putting a little pressure on Faulkner, and that's ringing in his head there, that hit he put on him earlier. So,
well, the Spartans have never won here at Stanford Stadium. They have won games in the series. They also haven't won on the road since November of 2008. So we're talking about almost 3 seasons since they won a road game.
San Jose State beat Stanford here.
In Stanford Stadium?
Not in the new one.
Not according to the game notes.
Not in the new one, but they beat us in 99.
Faulkner throws, it is caught and gang tackled. Grigsby shy of the goal line as about 4 Cardinal, including Michael Thomas, who thinks he came away with the football, a la his play against UCLA last year that went back for a touchdown. Look at him, he's saying, hey, Hey, I took it out of there. And you know what? They may look at this. Thomas was pretty sure about it.
Should we make a $5 bet?
First charge timeout. Stanford. This will be a 30-second timeout.
For entertainment purposes only.
Yes. I say I played on that game unless I took too many hits to the head. I think San Jose State beat Stanford here in '99. I think. Do not quote me on that like directions as we talked about.
I don't think I need to quote you because I think you're pretty much on the record at this point. Take another look here. Thomas, well, I tell you what, it's going to be tough to tell in that scrum, but Thomas certainly looks like when he falls down, he's got the football. You wonder if Stanford took this timeout. Well, I guess they wanted to stop the clock with 52 seconds, but it also gives them time for a possible review, see if they want to look at this thing.
It's so funny to see a
You know what? You were correct.
$5.
Entertainment purposes only.
Yes. Let's see here. Let's take a look and see if he actually had the ball as he. So, possession was made. I think they're going to keep the
that's going to be a tough sell. He may have had it, but going to be have a tough time convincing a replay official. So it's 4th and 2. You a little surprised they're not going for it here?
No, they definitely need to get points on the board so they don't have a shutout so they can feel good about that.
All right. Wade this time splits the uprights, and the shutout is averted. It's 27-3, still 49 seconds left for Andrew Luck in the card.
And that's great for San Jose State. And not to be patronizing but they needed points on the board to be able to say, all right, guys, it takes a weight off them. There's no more thought of a huge shutout for Stanford, and now you can just say, all right, guys, we can score against these guys. It doesn't matter. We can do it. Let's start to do the right thing all the time and get some more points on the board going into the second half.
Well, they're down by 24. Obviously, they would need to hold Stanford in these last 49 seconds to keep it at that margin. But so far, the Cardinal have been fairly methodical, Mike. The number 7 team in the country, they were an offensive juggernaut a year ago. And Andrew Luck's made a couple of plays with his arm and with his legs, but I don't think anybody's looked at this first half and said, wow, this Stanford offense is unstoppable like they were a year ago. We've seen sort of a close to the vest sequence of play calling from the Cardinal.
Very much so. And one of the things you've got to realize about these Stanford offenses, every week it's going to change. Last year they did so many different things every week. The playbook, they literally just ripped up the old one and started anew. So that the game plan they came up with here was specific to San Jose State, knowing what they needed to do. Next week it'll be completely different.
Well, Chris Owusu is back for the first return of the season for Stanford, but he's not going to get the ball. Instead, it's one of the up men, Patch Stewart, who is a running back who can move. So Stanford will certainly take that as they get good field position out to the 35-yard line. And look, 43 seconds, Andrew Luck, a couple of timeouts. Certainly like his chances of getting this team into at least field goal range.
Really interesting to see that if they do that. Not to rub any salt in the wound of the bad half that San Jose State has. And, these are the times when it's kind of like, do we take the risk or do we maybe give the guys an opportunity to do a 2-minute drill? Then, that's one of the things you want your team to do is get ready for that 2-minute drill during the season.
Got to work on that, no question. When you got number 12 and you got 43 seconds, you figure you take a shot, although the first play is a generic handoff to Jeremy Stewart, and he goes nowhere. And so we'll see if the clock ticks down. And, well, the Cardinal going to go no huddle. They're not going to stop the clock. And this time Luck throws. Owusu makes the catch, but it's a minimal game just across the 40-yard line. So 20 seconds to go, and now Stanford will call its timeout, but now you have only 19 seconds.
Not quite sure what coach is thinking here.
Second charge timeout, Stanford. This will be a 30-second timeout.
I have a feeling they're just trying to get some experience. That's it, getting guys in and off the field, play calling, things that you need to do to get your season going. Not much is probably going to come out of this with 19 seconds left. Stanford has one more timeout left. Chances are they'll probably just see what they can do and call it a half.
Griff Whalen looks to be moving a tad gingerly. He'll stay in the game, but looked maybe a little bit nicked up for the moment.
Knock on wood, no injuries on either side of the ball.
No. And again, after what we saw last season, in the Stanford opener against Sacramento State. Levine Toilolo going down with a serious knee injury on the second play from scrimmage, missed the entire season. And certainly on the other side of the ball, San Jose State knows all about season-ending injuries, and so far so good here today. On 3rd and 2, Luck over the middle, wide open and dropped. Zach Ertz, and it looked like that might have been a little bit behind him.
No, Andrew Luck could not have thrown a bad ball. No, it was definitely a bullet.
It was catchable.
Down there. It was catchable, a bullet, but Zach definitely had to turn around and try and grab it from behind him. And I guess we all learned that Andrew Luck is human.
Refreshing, isn't it?
Yes.
So with 15 ticks to go before halftime here at Stanford Stadium, we will see the second David Green punt of the day. The first was not great. This one is better. Fielded by Rutley, and he is wrestled down right at the 20-yard line.
With 4 seconds left, I think we'll just air it out here, probably take a knee and regroup. San Jose State will go into the locker room and figure out, hey guys, you know, there's a lot of things that have went well. There's a lot of ways we've shot ourselves in the foot. Stanford will go into the locker room and say, hey guys, exactly what we wanted. So 2 different teams going into the locker room, that's for sure.
And no question, halftime adjustments. We'll see what Coach McIntyre comes back with, and we'll see if Stanford continues to keep it fairly simple with the game plan, and we see a lot more of these this fine stable of running backs in the second half. Faulkner will hand it off. Up the middle goes David Freeman, and that is how the first half will reach its conclusion. A successful first half for Coach Shaw in his inaugural game at the helm of the Stanford Cardinal. Tip of the cap, players head to the locker room to regroup. Today's halftime show is presented by Sprint, all football, no limits, only from Sprint. All right, come back after the break. We will check in with the Sportsnet Central Studios for an update on a busy day in college football. 27-3 Cardinal over the Spartans at the half.
Yeah.
Stanford fans fired up, and why not? Their team's got a 27-3 lead as we get set to start the third quarter here at Stanford Stadium. Time now for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. And we freeze Jabari Carr, who had the longest play of the day for San Jose State. Great catch. Carrington, Batamosi, both thought they had him wrapped up. Neither did, and Carr continues on down the field. Delano Howe finally wrestling him down inside the 10. Jabari Carr earns our Coors Light Freeze Cam.
And deservedly so. A great play by a fantastic receiver who took a big hit and just kept going, kept his feet going. And, you know, you can't ask for much more from a receiver once you have 2 guys try to lay some serious hits on you. And, hey, good for him. That's what San Jose State needs, is huge plays like that, guys stepping up, and that will help them get back on track.
And he's just a freshman. And remember, Chandler Jones, Noel Grigsby, the starting wideouts, both sophomores. So really a great wide receiver crew that Coach McIntyre has at his disposal heading into this new season. Stanford up 27-3, and the Cardinal will get the football to begin the third quarter. And it looks like Owusu deep again on a kickoff. Is he going to get 2 for 2 today?
Interesting.
Owusu ran the opening kickback against San Jose State 2 years ago for a touchdown. Then he ran a punt back for a touchdown. And Harrison Wade will kick it off. And the third quarter is underway. It'll be Owusu from his own 2-yard line. Through the first wave, still on his feet. Look out, right side. Sidesteps a man. Just the kicker to beat, and Wade helps on the tackle as Owusu is inside the 40, and that is why Coach Shaw will relent and let Owusu return kicks.
It is a very difficult decision for him because you can see how good he is at returning kicks. But it's just a huge risk because he's not injury prone. You just don't want to get him injured, and his knee is doing a lot better. Coach said that through camp his knee was progressing really well, and he said at our meeting, there was negotiations on Chris's part to get as many kick returns as he could. And I asked, what does he have to negotiate with?
Right.
And he says he just will beg. So he must have begged very well at halftime.
The coach said he will return some, but not all. It will be somewhere in between. So far, he's returned both kickoffs today, and a 59-yard effort has Stanford setting up shop at the 40-yard line of San Jose State. Owusu is wide left for the Cardinal. Griff Whalen is wide right. Luck looking downfield. He's got a man wide open, and Kobe Fleener could not grab it with one arm. And once again, Luck just a little off, and he had an open man.
Well, Kobe could have dove for that. I don't know what to say. I mean, it was literally almost a perfect pass. Just watching Kobe there, he
let him.
He let him
Tough
enough.
Tough play.
But it's like, and you know what he's saying, Andrew. That's a horrible throw.
Yeah, he's saying I missed him.
Yeah.
I threw it 1 foot too far, and I missed it. So it'll be second down and 10. Stephon Taylor is the lone setback, and Taylor will carry. Stutter step up the middle, and Taylor carries the pile for close to 5 yards.
Be interesting to see how Stanford starts to roll in different guys, both offensive and defensively. And another thing, too, is San Jose State. When talking to Coach McIntyre the other day, they had about, like he said, 21 guys on scholarship on the defensive line, but anywhere from 8 to 10 guys will get some playing time, and they definitely need to have guys get some good experience out there, because one of the things that San Jose State's going to have is a lot of defensive time on the field this season.
And they have a lot of defensive linemen to rotate in, 21 on the roster. On third down, it is Luck over the middle and in and out of the hands of Owusu, and that one's not a good.
Yeah, that's definitely on Chris's shoulders right there, and that was a perfectly thrown ball. I mean, that was just a rocket right to him. And it looked like maybe he lost sight of the ball. I can't tell. Let's watch the replay here. Looks like, well, he had it. Maybe he heard footsteps there, but he tried to bread basket it and just went right through his hands.
Well, either he lost sight of the ball or he found sight of Ben Wickery coming at him. But either way, Owusu cannot convert, and Stanford is forced to punt for the third time in this ballgame. David Green lets loose. Cardinal will try and down this one inside the 10, and a great special teams play. They're going to do just that. So a nice effort by the Cardinal. Wayne Lyons was the guy who finally downed it, but it was Andrew Fowler, the long snapper, getting downfield. How about your long snapper making a play like that and downing the ball inside the 5? Actually, Fowler was down there as well, but he wasn't the first guy who got it.
Well, that's one of the
Jamari Roberts who got his hands on it.
You are one of the rules of the long snapper is you can't just pummel the long snapper because his head's between his legs. So he can release early, and as soon as the ball is snapped, he may check to make sure that no one's coming right up the middle there, and he will release. He's actually one of the most important guys on a punt team is getting that long snapper down the field. That's why you don't see fat guys like me long snapping, because I couldn't run.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, that's why I never did it. I would have fell on the ground and took a nap.
So it'll be Matt Faulkner and San Jose State from their own 2-yard line, trying to make something happen. Straight up the middle is David Freeman, and as has been the case all day long, that run straight up the middle has gone nowhere.
And Max Bergen was right there, the first-time start. Now, he's gotten a lot of playing time last year, but Max Bergen has stepped into that inside linebacker position with Shane Scove, and they really like him. Now, I'm interested to see if number 9, James Vaughters, gets some playing time out there. They said he has the ability to play, and we may see him.
Well, still the starters in there for Stanford, and rightly so. Carrington is in as the nickel back, and I don't know what happened there. Faulkner tried to throw it, he lost it, and he's going to be tackled in the end zone. Are they going to call this a safety or an incomplete pass?
It looked like he threw it,
but then he ran after it.
Yeah. Safety.
They're calling it a safety.
Interesting. I'd like to see this replay to see what we didn't see.
Yeah, look, the quarterback knew, because if this is incomplete, he's not running after the football. He knew it slipped out of his hand. That is a live ball. Chase Thomas thought it was incomplete. He stopped, but I guess fortunately for San Jose State, Faulkner had the presence of mind to at least scamper after the thing and fall on it, because otherwise it could have been 6 for Stanford.
Get some stickum on that ball. It slipped right out of his hand. I don't know if he was trying to pull the ball back. I mean, I wonder what went through his head there, but I mean, that ball slipped like a wet bar of soap right out of his hand as he was on his back pull on the ball.
I'll tell you what went through his head.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah.
That's not good.
Well, he did the right thing by going and grabbing it,
right,
and not allowing a touchdown for Stanford. I mean, a safety is bad enough, but a touchdown's even worse.
So Stanford tacks on 2 more in strange fashion, and for a game that hasn't exactly been a up and down the field shootout, there have been a few strange plays.
Yeah, the Wildcat fumble, one of them, the fumble on the sack with Kevin Anderson taking the ball. Did I say that again? Henry. See, as soon as we started throwing names out there, I knew I was
right.
Henry Anderson picking it up and running it down to the 1. You know, you've had a lot of interesting plays, and you know, you expect to see that at the beginning of the season. You know, nothing's as sharp as it is at the end of the season. But
including the broadcasters.
Including the broadcasters, let's be very honest there. But, you know, this is where colleges tend to, you know, as in the pros, you've got preseason games. Something's going on down the sideline here. The refs are...
Well, is it possible that this late we're going to have a review of the play?
I think so. Now, the rule is every score is reviewed. In fact, every play is reviewed in NCAA, and they have a certain amount of time to review it and get the information. So
I would think that time has since passed.
Yeah, it looks like they're going back to their... Oh, wait a minute. They're going over and talking to Coach McIntyre. He just kind of walked away.
Well, again, the quarterback's reaction told the story. The way Faulkner immediately ran after that football, he knew he lost it on the way back, and then it was a fumble. So it'll be Harrison Wade, who, of course, is the kicker and the punter for San Jose State. He will be punting in this situation, and Drew Terrell is the deep man for Stanford. The Cardinal looking at potentially good field position once again. Good kick by Wade as Terrell backtracks and cannot escape the first man downfield, as that is Chandler Jones, the wide receiver, making a terrific play on special teams. So Jones contributing in more ways than one this afternoon.
You always think after a safety and the guy's punting from his 20 that, you know, the other team's going to get the 50, but that was an amazing kick.
Yeah.
Now, he had the wind, looked like he had a little bit of the wind at his back, which helped, but great coverage by San Jose State. And you hope that this will help get some more time for the defense to, and a little bit of space there so that the offense doesn't necessarily run down the field immediately.
1st and 10 for Luck and the Cardinal from their own 29-yard line. And Stephon Taylor will cut it back up the field, and he is met in a huff by Pompey Festejo, the reserve linebacker who is back for a 6th season, so he's been around the block a time or two.
The James McGillicuddy of San Jose State.
Well, I would say there is only one James McGillicuddy.
in terms of time. Yeah, there's only one Gilly, but...
And that tells the story right there. We said sometimes statistics don't tell the story. That one does. Stanford with only 69 yards rushing, but when you give up -2, when you are in the 3rd quarter and you have negative rushing yards, you're not going to win a lot of football games.
Well, this goes to show that San Jose State's going to rely heavily on their passing attack this year.
And passing is what Luck will do. He dumps it off to Taylor, who's got some room to the 40 and brought down on a nice tackle, I believe, by Smith at the 40, but that's going to be a first down for Stephon Taylor and the Cardinal.
Simple little pass play there. Andrew Luck just dropped back, and most likely Stephon was the release pass, and basically just looked and saw him that the linebacker took off with Levine Toilolo there. And with Stephon coming across the middle there, it's a very easy pass for Andrew Luck to get.
Just a standard check down, and Luck executes it to perfection. Cardinal move the chains. And Jamal Rashad Patterson has checked in at a wide receiver, although this will be a run play as Taylor gets it and dragged down from behind. Nice play by Brandon Driver. San Jose State defensively has actually played pretty well. I mean, you look at the scoreboard, you say, well, they've given up 29 points, but, you know, they had 2 big turnovers that were really game-changing kind of plays, and, of course, we just saw the safety, but really, they have, for the most part, held Stanford in check. I mean, Luck's barely at 100 yards passing.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the first down stats here. I mean, Stanford had 64 rushes, 95 passing yards. You know, the one key thing you see here, though, is, time of possession. You know, San Jose State actually has more time with the ball than Stanford.
Luck looking downfield. Instead, he checks down to Owusu over the middle, and a Nice tackle by Peyton Thompson, and Owusu is fine getting up from that. Gain of only a couple.
Well, you can just see here, quick step drop back. Ooh, little hand in the face mess there. The refs let that one slide.
You guys love that, don't you?
Yeah. There'll be retribution.
Yeah, I was going to say, he'll get him back the next time, won't he? 3rd and 8 right now for Luck and the Cardinals from their own 41-yard line. He throws wide open in the flat. That is Fleener. And Fleener's not going to have enough for a first down. So again, Stanford not exactly aggressive on 3rd and long. They will be content to throw it underneath. They come up short of the first down.
Looks like they might go for it, though.
Well, we'll see. It's 4th and 1, and Luck is staying on the field. And here come the big boys. So, yeah, I think Coach Shaw is going to test out his 4th down package right here. Tololo's in the game, Hewitt's in the game, Ertz, all 3 tight ends plus an H-back. And this isn't a short one either. This is 4th and 1.5. Give straight up the middle. And that's going to be a first down carry for Stephon Taylor. So nothing fancy about that, but David Shaw wanted to know right off the bat, hey, are we going to be able to pull this out? If we need 1 yard, we're near midfield, can we get it? And they got it.
Very interesting formation by Stanford there. Andrew Luck in the shotgun there with the running back behind him. I think that might change the mindset of the offensive line even. And also it makes the linebackers have to play back a little bit because they have to be able to take any swing plays to the side. So interesting, once again, Stanford trying to take advantage of just how people line up.
2 receivers split left for Luck just on the other side of midfield. He looks downfield, throws, caught by Owusu, and he's inside the 40 down to the 38, 37-yard line. So, you know, Luck maybe starting to find a little bit more rhythm now, too, in the second.
I think so. You know, one of the interesting things that Andrew Luck is able to do and gets to do is they give him at times 3 plays to call in the huddle. So he's looking at his wristband there, and he's calling 3 plays. He's letting the guys know, hey, here's 3 plays. When I get up the line, I will check, take a look, and then we'll run one of the 3 plays.
Unless he doesn't want to, in which case he's free to check to a 4th play that's not even among the original 3. That's how much faith they have in Andrew Luck. Pretty good run here by Stephon Taylor around right end, and he is down inside the 30, dragged down by Orth, but Taylor with a gain of 8 on first down. And Stanford now starting to move the football, well, a little too aggressive. I gave him 8, call it 6. It'll be 2nd and 4.
On that play there, Andrew almost tripped over his own feet, and San Jose State almost got a lucky break, and he just got the ball into Stephon's hand there to get it, the handoff done. But San Jose State just can't catch a break. You know, Stanford's just getting all the lucky rolls.
No pun intended?
None.
We told you, we put the kibosh on Luck puns after the first half. And the quarterback takes a timeout, so they will talk it over, and we will step aside. Cardinal on the move once again. They lead it 29-3, 8 and change to go in the 3rd quarter. Back at Stanford Stadium, Scott Reese, Mike McIntyre, the Cardinal with a commanding 29-3 lead over San Jose State. Midway through the 3rd quarter, Andrew Luck still in there and looking for more as he's got Griff Whalen to his right, Chris Owusu to his left. Stephon Taylor is your single setback. Quick 3-step drop. Again, it's Owusu. Look out. If he beats one man, he's gone, but open field tackle made successfully by Peyton Thompson, and it's 2nd down. No, excuse me, that's going to be enough for a first down.
You know, you just called me Mike McIntyre, right?
Did I really?
That's another $5 you owe me.
My tab is mounting. Yeah, no, you're a little more jovial right about now than Mike McIntyre is.
Yeah, he's not very happy. Well, he's smiling right now. Maybe that's squinting.
You don't look anything like him, quite honestly.
He's much more handsome.
Mike McLaughlin, for the record. Former Stanford great. Luck looking to throw, and Whalen got tripped up, and I don't think he's going to get a flag because the feet got tangled. No intent.
Very much incidental. He's going to throw his arms up and beg for it, but that was very incidental. Good call, or good no call.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look here. You get to see him
A little bit of a push there. Maybe not so incidental.
I think I stand corrected.
Peyton Thompson might have gotten away with one there.
Definitely past the 5 yards where you
I would say so.
touch the receiver.
All right. 2nd and 10 now for the Cardinals. Drew Terrell is your lone wide receiver. It's going to be Taylor. Moving the pile, Toilolo with a good push. Jonathan Martin in there, Schwartzstein as well. And Taylor continues to just sort of methodically churn out yardage.
And that's exactly what they want him to do. I mean, considering his stats last year, 13 games total, 233 rushes, a little over 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns. I mean, considering what they had 2 years ago with Toby Gerhart, for him to step up, and that's just him. And you have to remember that there's 3 other guys who ran for about 400 or 500 yards each or something like that. It's unbelievable.
Taylor has carried most of the load today. 3rd and 6 for the Cardinal now, inside the 15-yard line. Luck looking, throwing, caught by Owusu, and Stanford's going to be first and goal inside the 5. Thompson dragged him down, but Owusu dropped 1 ball. Other than that, he's been sure-handed. We haven't seen the deep threat that he can be, but you know what? Stanford will take it, move the chains.
I'm shocked that San Jose State has not bracket coveraged him. It's amazing that they're letting him get away with it.
Stanford quick to the line as Luck changes the formation. Man in motion is Ertz. Give it to Taylor left side and fighting for yardage, but San Jose State's front will have nothing of that. 2K Tupulotu. I'm glad I got to say that at least once today. Makes the tackle.
That is a mouthful and a half.
He was in on it. There were about 3 of his teammates as well, including Vince Buajar. Great story, too. Buajar was a guy who was an H-back, a fullback coming in. They moved him to linebacker like a week before the opener against #1 Alabama last year. Go get him, kid. He winds up playing all 13 games at linebacker and is an all-whack freshman performer. This time Taylor trying it again, and this time Stephon is in for the touchdown. Stanford adds 6 more.
Well, that's the strength of the Stanford offense. They're just going to continue to grind you down. That we talked a little bit earlier about that kind of blue-collar, punch-you-in-the-mouth mentality that Coach Harbaugh started, and it is continuing under Coach Shaw, who obviously coached under Coach Harbaugh and continues to understand the benefits of such an offense.
Williamson for the point after. He has been perfect, both PATs and field goals. He remains as such. It is 36-3. The whooping is on here at Stanford Stadium. Stephon Taylor finding pay dirt as Stanford rolls off a 14-play touchdown drive. In-depth sports news for the Bay Area fan. Go deep with Sportsnet Central, brought to you by Hyundai. That's tonight at 10:30. It'll be Dave Benz and Henry Wooford telling you about highlights of not only this game, but Cal Fresno State. A big first college football Saturday across the country, and of course, all the latest from the Giants and Diamondbacks in that National League West showdown. Giants trying to make it 2 in a row against the division leaders. Check out Hyundai Sportsnet Central tonight at 10:30. Jordan Williamson set to kick it deep, and San Jose State will get the football and try and muster some semblance of offense, trailing 36-3. Rutley will take it, bounce it outside. Michael Taylor forces him out of bounds, so a nice run back by Brandon Rutley. Let's check in downstairs now with Chris Townsend.
Well, guys, I got a special treat for you. Willie Shaw, the father of David Shaw. Coach, you have to be so proud. You coached here 2 different times. What's it like to see your son, the head coach of the Stanford Cardinals?
Unbelievable. And you mentioned we've had a long association with Stanford. Starting from #1, my son get accepted in school here and then graduate. And those were huge for our family and for my son. But just a dream come true for him to come back and us to come back, because for 37 years, this has been our favorite place to be, and this has been our favorite school.
Well, from a family standpoint, you just have to be tickled pink and so proud. And watching what your son's doing now, as they just ran a play, watching as your son's winning 36-3.
Well, you can't write up a better script than that. But he's been here for 4 years now. This is his 5th year. He's offensive coordinator for 4 years, so he's been a part of this whole resurgence of Stanford football. And he's one of those guys that everybody pulls for.
like I said, my son is one of those guys that when it's dark and nobody's watching, he's still going to do the right thing all the time. And you always pull for a guy like that.
And don't sell yourself short. You're also the honorary captain today, so congratulations to you too.
It's such a great honor for me to be part of his first game.
Back up to you guys.
All right, thanks very much. Yeah, it's got to be a thrill for Willie Shaw, who has such a storied history with this Stanford program, to be watching his son not only coach his first game here at Stanford Stadium, but leading 36-3.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear Coach Shaw talk about how he calls his dad up all the time and asks for those little things that you just don't know as a head coach that pop up from time to time. And just to be able to have that phone call, and he talked about Bill Walsh and the ability to talk to him, but having your dad there that's been through probably every single situation that a coach can be through, it's probably really helped him a lot.
3rd down and 4, Faulkner to throw. It is batted down at the line of scrimmage, and things continue to go pretty much nowhere for this San Jose State offense. They had a couple of good first half drives, a couple others killed by turnovers, and this just doesn't go anywhere.
Trent Murphy's just throwing his arms up going, I almost had it. It just would have been probably even better than what happened in the first half, but hey, get his arms up there, and that's exactly what you want to do as a defensive lineman.
Well, Harrison Wade is a good punter, but I don't think he wants to be working this much.
He's going to have to start kicking with his left foot.
He's had a busy day. Drew Terrell back deep to return for the Cardinal. Are they faking it, or is he going to kick it on the run? No, it's a fake, and Wade is going to be hammered by, is that a Manum?
No, that was...
or was that Carrington?
It was Carrington.
Okay. Devon Carrington absolutely levels the punter.
That is something you dream about as a scrawny little punter doing that.
Cool. Well, things going from bad to worse for San Jose State. I guess you got to try something. Down 36-3, 5 to go in the 3rd. Spartan special team coach Kirk Dahl clearly not a fan of what just went down. And we'll show it to you after this play, as Stanford now trying a little something different. They've got their own Wildcat formation as Anthony Wilkerson on the sweep. Evades 1 tackle, but really isn't going to get too much out of the play, maybe 2 or 3. But here's what we saw before the break. Harrison Wade is the San Jose State punter, and it looks like it's by design. Maybe he's got the option to throw it, kick it, or run it. Well, what he does is get hammered by Devon Carrington, but apparently he made the wrong decision, because look at Kirk Dahl just laying into his punter, who probably feels not so great after taking that lick, and then you come over and get undressed by your coach. So that's just a bad sequence overall.
It's not good when you got stars in your eyes and someone's yelling in your ears.
Wilkerson gets the carry, and once again he is bottled up. So Anthony Wilkerson hasn't really been able to get on track today.
Yeah, he's had a couple of runs in the first half where, mostly not to his own fault, there was just guys in the backfield stopping him. And, unfortunately with such a deep backfield, it's like USC. If you produce, you're going to play more. Unfortunately, there's some things as a running back you don't have control of. Line block, blitzes, and sometimes it's just, your luck, your bad luck.
And Coach Shaw talked about that during the week. He said, look, this is going to be a competition week in and week out, and the guys who produce are going to play, and that may change week to week. A lot of talented backs. Luck bobbles, recovers, looks around, throws deep. He's got a man. It's Owusu. And we're going to get some yellow hankies and pass interference, so what could have easily been a busted play is going to wind up a big play for Stanford.
That is probably the 4th time I've seen Andrew Luck take a situation that probably could have turned really bad and made a great play out of it.
He underthrew his man a little bit.
Pass interference. Number 19 of the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, Thompson's the guilty party, but the ball a little bit underthrown. Owusu tried to make a play on it, and this happens all the time when a receiver has to come back for the football, and the defensive back is looking the wrong way. He turned at the last minute, but it was too little too late.
Well, it's a little tough when it's Chris Owusu, because you're probably going 110% of your running speed, and it's hard to stop on a dime and turn around and make a play. And if Chris Owusu stops and starts to come back, chances are you're going to get a pass interference call.
So Stanford now 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line of San Jose. Luck gives it straight ahead. Wilkerson, this time he's got some running room. Good blocking up front. And a nice gain on 1st down. Give him 8 yards.
Good little shuffle step as he made it through the line there that kept the linebackers guessing which way he was going to go. And now we get to see what Anthony Wilkerson's made of. You get to see he's just a straight-ahead guy and a couple little juke moves, and Next thing you know, he's got positive yards, and he's feeling good about himself.
Call it 7 on first down for Wilkerson, but he will take it as Stanford sends 1, 2, 3 receivers to the left, including the tight end Zach Ertz. Luck throws, little bubble screen. Owusu, he's got blockers. Owusu, look out, cuts it back inside the 5, down to the 1-yard line. A nice-looking screen play, and that is the kind of playmaking ability that Chris Owusu has.
Exactly, and a little quick screen like that with Zach Ertz out there getting a body on one of the cornerbacks. There wasn't much chance for him to get off that block and make a play, and so, Chris Owusu, once again, the big-time play guy for Stanford so far this game, and they're just giving him opportunities to use that speed, and it's becoming very easy for Stanford to move the ball.
17 yards on the connection, and Stanford once again with a 1st and goal. Trying to tack on another touchdown. They've already got 36 points. Wilkerson is your running back. He gets the carry. He bounces it right. He is gang tackled shy of the goal line, and a nice play by Cedric Losi, among others. Thompson in there as well. So once again, on 1st and goal, Stanford can't get in.
Yeah, this is might be an area of concern for Stanford because, that's one thing is obviously the defense is going to try to tackle you and they want to get to the ball carrier, but it's happened more times than not against Stanford, and this is an area that Stanford really prides himself in, is that goal line plays, really knocking guys off the ball and making sure that their running backs are hitting the holes as quick as they can, so you don't give those end guys, the cornerbacks, a chance to get to the ball carrier.
So it's Taylor back in. Play action, Luck looking, Luck throwing, and batted away from Kobe Fleener. Nice play by Thompson, who's been an awfully active man in this second half.
He's had some bad plays, and then he has some good plays.
A little bit of everything.
Excellent play by him just to get his hands up, and probably didn't see the ball coming at him, but Luck got a nice hit on this play, unfortunately, and we'll have to, not hit, but he's on the ground. He's got dirt on his uniform, and that's never a good thing.
He's not standing. That's progress, I guess, for the defense, but he's fine. Losi got him, pulled up, didn't hit him hard. And Stanford will try again, 3rd and 1. Taylor again is the tailback. Taylor gets the ball, and he is in for 6. Another one for this Stanford offense, now at 42 on the day.
And this one is slowly coming to a point where San Jose State is going to have to lick their wounds and figure out what they did wrong, figure out what they did right, and take this as a real learning experience, because I know that no coach ever goes into a game wanting this many points against them, and Stanford's just going to have to continue to play ball, but San Jose State's got to figure out, hey, we got to play football. We can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We can't have bad mistakes, and unfortunately, San Jose State is just not helping themselves.
A 7-play, 44-yard drive capped off by a 1-yard touchdown plunge from that man, Stephon Taylor, and that look on Coach McIntyre's face pretty much tells the story. But look, Mike, this is what Stanford does. This is what the Cardinal did all last season to opponents. They just sort of ground you into submission.
They wear you out, and then in addition to that, they confuse you. With all their switching, with all of their movements, with all the different guys and how they put guys out and split tight ends and bring receivers in. And it's just very interesting to see how Stanford takes advantage of every opportunity and everything that they possibly can. And even in this game where that they're being very vanilla, very quiet about what they could do, they're still doing a lot of things that's making San Jose State scratch their head.
So the Cardinal will kick it off once again, as Williamson has been a busy man on this afternoon. It's a good thing when your kicker is a busy guy. It's not so good when your punter is a busy guy, as Harrison Wade has been for San Jose State. Kick is taken at the 3-yard line by Brandon Driver, and he is met at the 25. It's where after the game is as important as the game itself. Immediately following every Raider game this season, you can change it over to Comcast Sportsnet California for Raiders Postgame Live. Jim Kozimor hosts, Bill Romanowski and Tony Bruno are there as well. Kane Longworth and insider Paul Gutierrez inside the locker room in Denver for the opener. Complete Raider coverage every night on Sportsnet Central and always on CSNCalifornia.com. Scott Reese, Mike McLaughlin, no relation to Mike McIntyre. 43-3, Cardinal on top of San Jose State with 2 minutes, 1 second to go in the 3rd quarter of play. Matt Faulkner, plenty of time trying to find somebody. He settles on a short connection to Chandler Jones, who is wrestled down by Max Bergen.
Looked like he almost horse-collared.
I didn't want to say it, but that's kind of what it looked like. Yeah.
It looked like it, but I think it was just momentum there that kind of spun him around. We can just take a look here, but they're allowing Matt Faulkner to make good plays, and I'm glad to see that his new his start here, it's very good for him. He's having a lot of success as a passer.
Well, he clearly feels most comfortable with that guy, 89 Chandler Jones. Jones with another catch. Most of them have been short routes, high percentage kind of stuff. That's a 10-yard gain and a first down. And, that's fine and dandy. It's going to move the chains. We've been saying all day at some point maybe you throw the ball downfield. I guess when you're down by 40 approaching the fourth quarter, it's pretty much academic, and you work on just gaining some positive momentum, right?
Yeah, you just continue to do what you do best and really hone that so that next time you come out in the field, maybe you don't make the mistakes and that doesn't put you in the spot where you have to throw deep.
Here comes Scove on a blitz, and there you have Shane Scove at his best. James Vaughters, true freshman, in on the tackle as well, as he has now come into the game. But Shane Scove timed that thing absolutely perfectly, and he met the running back, just about the time the running back got the football. Been a tough run for San Jose State in this second half. 2 possessions, a -2 and a safety, 8 yards and a punt. And they're not going very far on this third drive either. They had a couple of positive plays to Chandler Jones and then one gigantic negative play, -5 there, as Shane Scove stuffed out the run. 2nd and 15, and another bobble and drop from Faulkner. All he can do is pick it up and run forward for a couple of yards, and things just not working in any facet of the game right now for the Spartans.
This is very interesting to see kind of what's going on with San Jose State, because they do have a tremendous amount of talent. They are tremendous athletes, and I know Coach McIntyre is continuing to try to make the program a better program, but they are definitely not helping themselves, so it'll be interesting to see how they play the fourth quarter there.
Well, we will all find out together. The Cardinals 43-3 over San Jose State. Well, we came back early from break, and you missed an incomplete pass by Matt Faulkner. It's not going to be 4th and 12. You didn't miss much, but I tell you what you did miss is the in-house scoreboard here at Stanford Stadium telling us that Sacramento State has beaten Oregon State 29-28 in overtime. Houston beat UCLA 38-34, so a couple of tough losses there for the Pac-10 out of conference.
Not good.
Certainly Sacramento State over Oregon State is not good for the conference. And Harrison Wade this time will take a few steps and kick the ball. I have the feeling that's what he was going to do the last time. Terrell Fields breaks a couple of tackles, still on his feet, and across the 40. Of course, last time Wade took a few steps to his right, and instead of sort of pooch punting it, he tried to run it, got his bell run by Devon Carrington, and then got lit up by his position coach on the sideline. This time he does kick it downfield, and frankly, when A, it's a 40-point game, and B, you were the 7th best punter in the nation last year in terms of yard average, I don't know why you don't just kick the thing.
I don't even know what they're doing with that type of kick. I don't know what that movement is. It's weird. I mean, I know what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the ball on the ground, bounce a little bit, let your guys get down the field, but the guy's got a leg, let him kick, or let him run, or maybe not let him run considering what happened.
Well, Brett Nottingham has checked in. Andrew Luck's day is done. We'll tell you about Nottingham after this first play from scrimmage. Jamal Rashad Patterson in the game at receiver, and an end around to freshman Ty Montgomery. We told you you'd see more of him. He had one catch earlier, and there is his first carry of the day. And this your Sprint Unlimited update as you look at the stats through 3 quarters of play. Faulkner statistically has had a decent day, 14 of 25, but for an empty 183 yards. Luck, a couple of touchdown tosses, 1 touchdown run. Taylor has scored twice. But let's talk more about Brett Nottingham. He's a local kid from Alamo, California, redshirt freshman who really moved up the depth chart, Mike, since spring camp. And this is a 4-star recruit that they were very excited to bring in a year ago, and he is now clearly number 2 behind Luck. And Nottingham gives it to the 5th-year senior Jeremy Stewart, who has running room and gets himself a first down.
It's one of the things you just can't teach a running back is to be able to see those open holes. And Jeremy just stopped on a dime and turned it right upfield and got a whole bunch of extra yards because of that. You can just see right here. He just kind of goes and, there's where it is.
Nice block up front.
And it was really great to see him have such a great Orange Bowl last year. I mean, he had a great game, and I mean, everyone had a great game.
Yeah.
Jeremy had a great game.
And we'll see if they let Nottingham throw it here, up by 40. No, it's another give. Stewart up the middle, and once again, a nice gain for Patch on first down as he gets 7.
Yeah, a huge, I wouldn't say a huge QB battle, but a very spirited QB battle between Nottingham and Robbie Picasso, who is a walk-on and got a scholarship because of his effort. And then Josh Nunez, also a junior. So good to see that coach finally decided on the successor of Andrew Luck. But we'll have to see how he plays.
And hopefully he'll see lots of time next year. Nottingham once again hands off. It is Wilkerson, little stutter step, and he slips as he gets near the 32-yard line. They're going to mark him down a yard shy of the first down.
No doubt in my mind that they will go for it.
On third down, I think that is definitely the right call.
Yes. I saw third down as he was moving it. They're not supposed to change it
they're quick
to
here.
third
They're quick
until
here
they
at
said it.
Stanford. No.
Tricked me. Dare he. All right, here's your $5 back.
We can. there you go. I'm still 5 in the hole, I think. We kid because we care, and because it's 43-4. Nottingham give it to Wilkerson, and he's got to work hard for that 1 yard. He may have gotten it. It's going to be very, very close to another first down for Stanford. The Cardinal ranked 7th in the Associated Press poll, 6th in the coaches poll. It's their first preseason top 10 ranking since 1970. It's their highest preseason ranking since 1950, when they also began the season 7th. I mean, this is such uncharted territory for this Cardinal program, and you've got to give Jim Harbaugh all the credit in the world for turning this team around.
I mean, considering the fact that when the year before he came in, Stanford was where San Jose State was.
Yeah, exactly.
A 1-11 team. I mean, just atrocious. There was nothing good going on at Stanford other than they were getting good guys in here and not using them well. And I won't talk about the ex-coaches that were here because they really don't deserve any credit at all, other than the fact that they brought guys in here. But Coach Harbaugh came in here. He made some good changes to recruiting. He changed the whole mentality of this program. He told everyone, you know what, I don't care what people think. All that matters is what we think. And he basically put Stanford on the map, and this is great. Now Stanford has the ability to play in a national championship game because they've been rated so high early.
He changed the culture of the program, and that's been evident over the last 4 years, and obviously having number 12 at your disposal certainly helps matters. But Stanford's going to go for it on 4th and about 3 chain links, not because they're trying to show anybody up, but because they're working on these 4th and shorts that have at times eluded them, some of the short yardage plays, particularly near the goal line. But that time they pick it up without a problem as Ryan Hewart carries the football, and Stanford will move the chains, and Nottingham gets another set of downs.
Told you they'd go for it.
You are clairvoyant.
Yes. Well, this is the time for San Jose State to really establish themselves as a team to continue to fight, because they're going to play some other tough teams. I mean, they got to go down to UCLA next week. Not necessarily a tough team, but another Pac-10 team, and they've got to make sure that they're playing full 4 quarters. I know Coach McIntyre is keeping an eye on everyone out there to see who continues to play.
Gaffney in the ball game, either a busted play or a sweet spin move by Nottingham. Either way, he gets it to Jamal Rashad Patterson, who is tough to tackle, and finally brought down. But that's again, I don't know if that was as scripted or if Nottingham just made something out of nothing, but it winds up being a net positive.
It was good to see him throw the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, great form on the run there. One of the things you always want to do as a quarterback as you're rolling out to your strong side is to throw off that front foot, make sure you're jumping in the air because you'll get a lot of zip on it. And he did that exactly as you're supposed to do it.
Almost ran into Tyler Gaffney, but as it stands, 2nd and 3 for Stanford. Gaffney with a football right up the middle, moving the pile. And the 2-sport star here at Stanford looks like he has another Cardinal first down.
You're starting to see some other linemen in there too. I've seen, I thought that was Mabry. It was not. Sorry, that's still David Yankee out there. But yeah, baseball star Tyler Gaffney in the long line of great 2-sport athletes that Stanford has had. Go Chad Hutchinson, John Elway. A lot of guys out there have played both and have excelled at both.
Toby Gerhardt.
Oh yeah, him too.
He was okay.
Yeah.
Gaffney still the setback. Jeff Meinken is the blocking back. Big hole for Gaffney. Spins out of a tackle. He's going to take it to the house, and that is Stanford football. They will roll out running back after running back, and this time it's the 3rd stringer, Gaffney, who picks up 6.
Great run. That's all you need from your running back is to get it upfield and make one move, and he did that exactly here. He just went up the field, saw the guy, little spin move, and just keep chugging along.
17-yard touchdown run, and a pretty one at that for Tyler Gaffney, and Williamson will attempt yet another extra point as Stanford hangs half 100 on San Jose State. It is 50-3.
I think this game is officially a blowout.
Let the celebration begin here on the farm. We're back right after this. 50-3, Stanford on top of San Jose State with 10 to play. It's time now for the Toyo Tires Driven to Perform highlight. Andrew Luck is frequently driven to perform, and he did exactly that, scoring Stanford's first touchdown. A 1-yard touchdown run in which he had to run a lot farther than 1 yard. Dives to the pylon. Luck also threw a couple of touchdown passes. His day has long since concluded, and his team has scored 50 points against the Spartans. An announced crowd of 47,816, which is impressive. I'm not sure there were actually 47,000 people in attendance, but still, for a team that at times struggled to fill the stands here last year, pretty good first showing, especially with the students not yet back.
Yeah, and I think the thing to take away from that is people are starting to buy tickets. I mean, I know that season ticket sales were up over 50%. They sold almost 30,000 full season tickets. They also had some great mini plans, and people out there, if you're watching us, coming up to some of the great games they have coming up. They've got Oregon, they've got Notre Dame, they've got big game here. Colorado, the new addition to the Pac-12, will be here. So there's a lot of exciting games, and I know there's tickets available. So continue to fill these stands.
Well, like Stanford, San Jose State has now changed quarterbacks. Matt Faulkner's day is done. Desmond Stewart is now under center, and Stewart will hand off to Brandon Rutley, who runs right because running up the middle all day hasn't gotten him anywhere. Sadly for the Spartans, this does not either. Stewart competed for the starting job. He's a sophomore, 6'3", 205 out of Oxnard, California. And Faulkner didn't play badly. He was fairly consistent on the short and intermediate routes, pretty much as advertised. As you see, Ryan Otten, the tight end, limping off the field. And his first injury we've seen today. That's the good news for both teams. Otten missed most 8 games, I believe, last year with injury. But, Mike, when you talk about the quarterback situation at San Jose State, whether it's Stewart or Faulkner, either guy might just be keeping the position warm for a year because they got a kid named Tate Forcier who they signed as a transfer from Michigan, who in all likelihood will be the starting quarterback next year.
And Stanford fans will know his brother Jason, who was here. And the Forcier family is a very good quarterback family. They got a lot of natural talent. Almost a pick six there by Jordan Richards, a true freshman.
Yeah, we're going to see some more of the true freshmen now getting on the field, and Richards is a guy who they're really high on, had a terrific summer camp, and like James Vaughters, like Wayne Lyons, guys who the coaching staff expect to contribute sooner rather than later.
But going back to the quarterback, yeah, Tate Forcier, out at practice the other day, I watched him. He is a solid quarterback, and they are chomping at the bit to get him out here. He's got to sit out a year because of the transfer rules, but once they get him out there, I'm definitely expecting them to play him a lot.
3rd down and 10. Stewart will throw, and that is complete. And Jabari Carr spins out of 1 tackle, and he loses the football. And we'll see who finally ends up with it. A couple of Cardinal players had a shot at it, and apparently one of them got it. And it is going to be Stanford football. I believe it was Blake Luters who wound up with it.
Yep. Blake Luters.
All right, Stanford has it once again in San Jose State territory, and it continues to be that kind of day for the Spartans. Scott Reese, Mike McLaughlin back at Stanford Stadium, where the hometown Cardinal are getting it done 50-3 over San Jose State. One more look at the most recent Spartan turnover, a completed pass to Jabari Carr, who had a big play down the field earlier, trying to make something happen. Ball on the turf, and Blake Luters, number 43, comes up with it. And once again, you know, you're playing uphill as it is against the top 10 team. You can't turn the ball over.
Yeah, and that was number 17, A.J. Tarpley on the strip there.
And Nottingham downfield, Kobe Fleener hauls it in. Fleener inside the 5, touchdown, Stanford. Brett Nottingham, welcome to college football.
What a great pass. I mean, that was perfect. Now, it's an easy target when you're running down the field at 6'8" or whatever Kobe Fleener is now. He grew another 2 inches, but that was a perfect pass, and Kobe Fleener just had to just shrug off a little a guy and just skip his way into the end zone.
Another look at the first career touchdown pass for number 7, Brett Nottingham. He's from Alamo. Boy, how thrilling must this be to get this one under your belt, and a great play by one of the better tight ends in the nation. Williamson will tack on the point after he continues his day of perfection. We got ourselves a whooping. It is 57-3 after a 40-yard scoring strike.